Indiana Pacers.
Jamie throws a quest. He wins the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, James, I see you at 6:50, 8:59, and there's probably a good chance tonight I see you past midnight.
Possibly, yeah. It's going to be a long night.
It is a long one. They do this every year, the Colts, under Shane Steichen. It's a true night practice, 8 to 10 p.m. last year. Highly competitive. So for those that are heading out to Westfield, Indiana tonight, after a day off for the Colts, a day off tomorrow, you will get a good amount of action, I would say, coming up tonight, and a little fireworks show afterwards up there at the Drop Light Grand Park campus. So night practice for the Colts tonight, morning sessions coming up Saturday and Sunday, and a good Thursday morning to everybody out there. Thanks for starting your day with us. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I went to the store and bought toilet paper, Mark, and used it at home. Crazy concept.
That's what I did too.
Yeah, I was a little surprised we were asked back today.
Yeah, I'm glad that I can stay employed. But to be fair,
You said 2 key fobs worked for you today?
yeah, they did work today. I got a little scared there for a second because the first one wasn't working like it was supposed to, but still employed and happy to be joining you all here as we get ready, like you said, for a long day on our side, but a fun day.
Indeed. So, yeah, are you going nap today?
Yeah, I'll probably go nap today. Mainly because I don't have the responsibilities that you two have. No offense, but not exactly having to worry about picking the kids up from school later on today.
Well, yeah, I would say the responsibility of maybe the dad in the house of the Dykton household is waning a little bit there with some of the childish acts that he's been known to pull
I know
out.
what you're talking about.
So we'll get you set for, again, the night practice tonight. We saw another veteran wide receiver of note sign elsewhere in the NFL. Does that have any trickle-down effect here? It's an annual series you guys do over on The Athletic, James, and I always enjoy kind of the intel you get on some of these quarterbacks, and I would say the compliments were very high for one Daniel Jones. So we can get into that piece that's posted up on your site. Something I like to do when we get to this point of camp each year, I like to mentally and actually, from article form, update where I think the position battles are. Right now we're at the halfway point of camp. I mean, it's literally at that point. I will say true evaluations, I think, occur in the second half of camp, i.e. more full padded practices, joint practices, toss in some preseason games. But still, where are we at right now at the midway point of camp? So we will go ahead and do that here. And it's a big one for the Fever tonight, I would say as well. 7 o'clock, that tip. It is Fever. It's Aces. The Fever continue to haul in all of the July awards. Stephanie White, Coach of the Month. Kelsey Mitchell, Player of the Month. We know Caitlin Clark, Player of the Week. And this is a big one tonight, James.
Yes. Selfishly, I wish that this were a game on a different day so I could double up with night practice and the Fever game, but I'll have to go back and watch it the next day to figure out exactly what happens. Of course, I'll see the score, but huge game tonight. The Aces are second in the standings for the WNBA. And then more importantly, Kevin, I think this is a chance to send a message like, hey, we're talking about the Lynx and the Aces as the top 2 teams in the league, but don't forget about us as championship contenders.
Yeah, this is a Fever team that has undoubtedly played great basketball over the last couple of weeks. What is yet missing from their overall resume is beating quality teams. And, yes, they've beaten the Aces twice this year. We should note, I believe one of those, both teams were down a whole lot, including Asia Wilson, but winning more of these types of games, more of these teams that you will certainly see, into the month of October. I think that is a big, big element to today, or to tonight, I should say. Today will be up in West Lafayette. It will be Tommy McClellan, their new athletic director, announced at 11 o'clock. So some news item there from West Lafayette. Mark, have you ever bet on the Hall of Fame game?
Absolutely not.
So you have pooped in your backyard, but you've never bet on the Hall of Fame game?
The man has standards.
Not a degenerate.
He really drew a hard line there. He was adamant about that.
Yeah.
I do have standards. I have high expectations of myself.
Now, if you were to say over under, is there a poll one way or the other on the first preseason game of the year? How do you kind of view preseason football? Are you more of an under guy?
Yeah, because I wouldn't even know where. I don't know who half the guys are that are going to be playing.
No, first round pick Kenny Pickett starting a quarterback, right?
Boy, that does not excite me. But
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, let me get rid of some of my money for Kenny Pickett.
30.5, the over under tonight. I mean, you see that 30.5. I mean, you got to hammer the over, right? 17-13? Come on now. All I need is 2013.
To be fourth stringers by the second quarter.
All I need one of them to break one. Some quarterback to fumble it in the backfield, and undrafted defensive end picks it up and starts rumbling the other way for a touchdown. Points are points, baby. I don't care if it's Bryce Young scoring them or, as Jake would say, little hands Kenny Pickett.
look, man, if you're betting on this game tonight, call that number.
Cardinals 1.5 point underdog if you're more of a line guy versus the over under.
Oh, boy.
For tonight. The Fever is slight favorite for tonight. Again, we'll be out there in Westfield for the Colts and their night practice, day 7 of camp. Stephen Holder, we pushed him to today after our conversation with Daniel Jones yesterday. Anything lingering from the chat with QB1 yesterday?
I thought when you asked him about some of his recovery things and the difference between recovering from an ACL injury versus an Achilles injury was very interesting to me, because he kind of made the point that ACLs, at least early on, seem to be more like of a pain tolerance thing and, trying to get your movement back. Whereas with the Achilles, you have to wait quite a long time before you can actually start moving around, strengthening it and things like that. So I know for a guy like him, who is, from all accounts, a very hard and diligent worker, it was hard not to work hard, if that makes sense. Like, the hard work is probably just waiting until your body has healed enough, until you are able to do some more stringent things. Because he mentioned, and I want to say Chris Ballard said the same thing, it takes about 3 months. And once you pass that 3 months mark, then you can start to push a little bit as far as your recovery and movement. But until that point, you really don't want to risk re-tearing it.
Yeah, from what I've gathered here, this Dr. Martin O'Malley, he's kind of been this new age Achilles surgeon here. He did Halliburton, he did Tatum, he did Daniel Jones, et cetera, et cetera. The hope and the belief with him is you got to have surgery ASAP.
Yeah.
Like, as quick as possible. Tyrese Halliburton had it the day after. I mean, you imagine losing Game 7 in Oklahoma City? It's like, no, man, we can't be weeping. We can't be doing any of that. I think what Dr. O'Malley is trying to do is create a little bit of a smaller incision there, and that can limit some of the infection part. And I think that is where a lot of the hiccups do occur in this Achilles rehab. So, yeah, I thought Daniel was pretty enlightening on that. And I would also
I think
say
Jones got his done the next day too.
Right.
To be honest.
Yeah, he was kind of in the same boat with that. And I think what I was struck by yesterday too is, reading a little bit of those voices from around the NFL that did the quarterback tier piece we'll get into here on The Athletic. You hear defensive coaches, you hear whatever, GMs, head coaches from around the league discuss Daniel Jones. It was kind of a bit of the premise, I guess, James, for like me wanting to ask him about his relationship with Shane Steichen.
Yeah.
Because I just think those two are so wired in the same way of our Monday through Saturday prep is going to outwork the opponent. And it'll show up on Sunday when, we're going to get into situations that just are favorable for us. And when we get to the line of scrimmage and it's not super favorable, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And so I think those two, frankly, I just think they're football nerds.
Do you remember when he initially signed, like officially came to the facility, signed his deal, and they told us, hey, Daniel's supposed to be in here, let's call it 4:30.
He was late.
But he's meeting with Shane right now. He probably was at least 30 minutes, if not longer.
Yeah.
It might have been about 45 minutes till he came to meet us, because we all knew, oh boy, they're in there talking about X's and O's already. And honestly, selfishly, I was thinking to myself, you should have had him come here first, get his 5 minutes in with the media, and then go over there so they can spend the next hour and a half going over how they're going to use him in this offense. So that relationship seems to have really enhanced what we've seen on the field. And also, we'll get into it throughout the QB tiers piece that my colleague Mike Sando does a great job with every year. He talks to, I think, over 50 NFL execs, coaches, and higher ups around the league about different quarterbacks, where they rank them, and things like that. And you'll see throughout that piece that they're pretty complimentary of Daniel and of Shane in the pairing there, which, I mean, it's kind of crazy to see like the universal respect, I guess, that Daniel has based off of more or less 10 games.
So we'll get into that here on this Thursday morning, and a lot to set you up for tonight. Again, it is a legit under the lights practice up there at Grand Park, 8 to 10 p.m. And then to get you set for the rest of camp, they'll go weekend morning practices Saturday and Sunday, off to Foxborough next week. So they won't, Sunday they'll practice here in Westfield. They won't practice again up there at Grand Park until the following Saturday. So they'll have all next week, Monday through Friday, off from training camp. Another 2 weekend practices coming up next weekend, and they'll close things out with joint practices. Atlanta Falcons coming in town Wednesday and Thursday, August 19th and 20th. Good Thursday morning to you. Looks to be a nice day here in the Circle City. Thanks for starting it with us. It's Kevin Bowen. It's James Boyd. It's Mark Dykton here. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Morning Checkdown Brought to you by Bet365 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
After day off on Wednesday, the Colts back to work, and that is tonight, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., a night practice under the lights there at Grand Park. James Boyd, what's on the to-do list for you in regards to practice?
I think I want to see, if there's any sort of progress for DeForest Buckner when it comes to team drills. That's important to me. I also want to see, again, the wide receiver room. How do they look in the absence of Alec Pierce? So a couple of things like that, KB, but nothing too crazy, I would say. And also, I guess, lastly, do they continue to rotate linebackers so much?
Yeah, they've definitely done a lot of that. If you care about the kicker battle, it sounds like both of them will be kicking tonight in Blake Grupe and Spencer Schrader. So, again, last year it was a really, really competitive night. I actually went back and looked at last year's notes I had from the night practice. It was Daniel Jones's turn to take the starting reps last year during this practice. He threw 27 passes, which James, for example, on Tuesday, he threw 11. So, 27 passes in a practice, and I'm talking full team, 11 on 11. Offense, defense. That's a ton. I mean, that's like a real game. So if you're out there tonight at Grand Park, assuming it follows a similar script, you're going to see a lot. I want to say Richardson threw 19 passes last year. So again, it's a long practice. Shane last year was on his megaphone calling plays. So you should get a lot of action here coming up tonight. Speaking of tonight, it starts an hour earlier than the night practice. It'll be the Fever and the Aces from Gamebridge Fieldhouse. This is Amazon Prime, and so that means Michael Grady will have your play-by-play call. Of course, we'll have our radio coverage with John Nolan and Bria Goss. Mick Tidrow will have your pregame starting at 6:30 here. James, notable one. A slight favorite for the Fever and important as we start to look ahead because before you know it, the playoffs are going to be here.
Yes, huge game. And then I want to say this is the first home game they've had since the All-Star break. So excited for this matchup. You got two, probably three MVP candidates in this game with Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark on the Fever side, and Obviously Asia Wilson, who I think is the front runner for MVP on the Aces side.
July 22nd, their last home game. Obviously, you had the All-Star break right after that, and then they had the 3-game trip out west. So home tonight at Chicago on Saturday. Then they'll be home a couple times next week. New York and Dallas, two pretty quality teams there on Tuesday and Friday. All right, Major League Baseball yesterday. The broom's out in the Dykton household, not sweeping up Mark Dykton's turds in the backyard.
Nope. Sweeping the Brewers. Excuse me. Sweeping the Brewers. That was good to see.
Sweeping the Dodgers, right?
The Dodgers. What did I say? The Brewers? I wish we were sweeping the Brewers. But no. Yeah, swept the Dodgers. Closing in on the Brewers a little bit. But yeah, that was a very, very good series. So we will see what the new arms of the Cubs do because they should start making their debuts in the next day or two.
Mark, is there anything worse for a baseball fan when you hear discomfort in the elbow? Dr. Neil Elitrosh is on line one.
That's not good.
You see that news for Hunter Green yesterday?
I did, and that was like, oh boy.
It's never good. It's never like, oh yeah, we saw Neil and we got some mints in the lobby and then we headed out.
No, you usually get that Jeff Passan notification on your phone and X-player is getting surgery and he's out.
You don't usually get news, and yeah, it's good news, actually. Nothing was wrong.
Yeah.
We were wrong.
He had his funny bone.
Yeah.
No, Thomas John is usually the phrase that follows. Tommy John from Indiana, right?
I think so.
I believe that is the case.
Might be paying a visit to Cincinnati.
Reds did win over the A's. They actually won another series. It's with the extra wild card, it is funny how your team is never unless they're absolutely horrific, they're never truly out of it there. Cardinals over the Yankees. White Sox lose to the Red Sox. Brewers did win, and the Guardians losing to the Mets. Couple of other notes. It's Hall of Fame game night. Preseason football is debuting for the degenerates out there. 30.5 points, the over-under here. I say we lay a bet down on it.
What would the bet be?
I think you take the over, right? 30.5? Got to have a couple broken plays.
We can use that with your money. That's fine.
Yeah, it does feel low, but man.
If you had to bet it, what would you bet? Over or under 30.5? I don't want to do
points
the
for the game.
30.5
I
for
probably
the
would
game.
take the over.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
low.
I'll take
they're
the over.
Professionals, right? They got to be able to score something.
if I had to bet it, I guess I would take the over, but I would feel disgusting that I was placing that wager.
Of course, James says they are professionals. James, have you seen the second and third units for the Colts try to move the football here?
I know, but part of me thinks, okay, well, maybe they'll be against other professionals relative to their level. I'm trying to grasp at some straws here. I don't know.
I love your justification. Say no more. We'll see how the next couple hours play out, and I'll let you know where I'm leaning here late in the 9 o'clock hour. Of course, Hall of Fame week means Adam Vinatieri into Canton, Ohio. Carly Ursay-Gordon will be presenting him coming up on Saturday, so you'll have some Colts contingent up there. I kind of look at Vinatieri wanting the Ursays and maybe a slight dig towards his thoughts on Bob Kraft and the New England Patriots there, but nonetheless, very cool honor for the Ursay group. What else? Did I see Aaron Donald worked out for the Rams yesterday?
Yes.
So is this happening?
I don't see any signs to say it's not happening. So perhaps the rich get richer. And boy, they're already loaded as it is. And then adding a first ballot Hall of Famer who many consider to still be very good at football will be just crazy.
Is there men's league football out there?
No. Is there men's league football anywhere?
Like there's men's league basketball, sure.
Yeah,
There's
not
men's
a
league
men's league
soccer.
football.
Can you imagine men's league football?
No, I can't imagine it because I feel like there'd be a lot of people.
We got enough people out there that would sign up, right?
No, yes, they would sign up, but they would all be stupid. No, you cannot have a men's league football league. Come on now.
Aaron Donald showing up Tuesdays at 9 under the lights over at Carroll Stadium or
now
something.
You got my mind wondering, like, how many regulated helmets do you think we'd have out there?
There's got to be.
And pads.
There's got to be some. Maybe it's 7-on-7, but there's got to be at some.
Yeah, flag football, yeah, but like actual football, no chance.
Strapping them up. IndyCar back in action this weekend. It is Portland for them. Recent winners there. Alex Blow, Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, I believe, has got it done out there. So very busy month of August for IndyCar. And again, Purdue will announce their new athletic director, Tommy McClellan, coming up at 11 o'clock. What's the most important thing for an AD in today's world of college athletics?
Raising money. Got to get the funds so you can compete at the highest level, especially if you're in the Power Four.
Yeah, you got to get football right.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to tell you all about, hey, raise these young men and women up to be great people for society. And, yeah, that's part of the job, but money.
Well, I'll tell you what, the text line says there are some men's league football. Full 11-on-11, tackle, refs, crowds, helmets, and pads.
Where? Here in Indianapolis?
No, a 39U men's football league.
Oh, my God. I've seen some of this on, like, TikTok and Twitter, and it's the funniest stuff ever because I'm just thinking to myself, your insurance plan isn't good enough for you to be doing this.
This is awesome.
But, yeah. Kevin, don't get any ideas, brother.
Can you imagine Aaron Donald showing up to your men's league?
I just go home. Come on now.
Oh, that is too good. What else we got? Did I cover everything? Anything else you got here? State Fair tomorrow, Mark?
Yes, it is. Starting on there, so it should be very exciting to get all the food and all that stuff. You guys going to make it out there?
Oh, certainly. Jake Query, I believe, is live out there tomorrow.
Yes, he should be posted up by the dairy bar.
I think he says that's his favorite remote of the year because he gets to be next to the dairy bar.
Yeah, him and I did a couple of them from out there. Were you? Yeah, Mark. Do you remember the day that him and I had to sprint in the rain?
Yes.
Boy, that was a wild experience. Started pouring at the start of the 9 o'clock hour, and so he went into whatever that actual barn is, way on the west side, if I'm trying to picture it. But yeah, that was quite the experience there. But boy, the dairy bar is so good. The lines are so long there. People the grilled cheeses are to die for. Obviously, the milkshakes as well. Have they announced what they're doing this year?
I think it's like a blueberry shake.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Something blueberry, blue raspberry, something like that.
And the grilled cheese of choice?
I don't know. I have to look that up.
State Fair coming up tomorrow. All right. Indianapolis Indians, I should mention they're home all week as well. Mark, let's get a little weather update on the other side. A notable name around the NFL signing at the wide receiver position. What does this mean for the trickle-down effect and the Colts and potentially Keenan Allen? Where are we at on position battles? And we'll continue to get you set for a night practice tonight in Westfield, 8 to 10 p.m. for the Colts. Good Thursday morning to you. Thanks for starting your day off with us. It is the Fan Morning Show.
Rain chances return across the area for today. They'll be scattered about. Not everyone's going to get rain. A few thunderstorms as well, and still muggy with a high at 83. Tonight, patchy rain chances, still humid. Look for a low tonight down to 68. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien for The Fan.
We Grow Hair Indie, the gold standard for hair restoration online. It's wegrowhairindie.com. Again, they're ready to help you out today. And I would, at the very least, you deserve to get answers to the questions that you have. And that's where you contact Darren Andrews and his staff. I've chatted with people that have had procedures done out of state, out of country, Instagram ad. And oh boy, the stories are a bit nightmarish, if I must say. That was not my experience at all at We Grow Hair Indie. So contact them today. Again, that's Darren Andrews and his staff up there on the northwest side, the Pyramids building number 2, and you'll get some answers to the questions you deserve. Free evaluation, virtual evaluation, private evaluation, all that is available to you. The gold standard for hair restoration, northwest side, building number 2 at the Pyramids. Free evaluation awaits. Contact We Grow Hair Indie today. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. It's indoor and it's outdoor concrete. We're talking garages, basements, patios, porches, and sidewalks. We're thrilled with our look. Our home about 100 years old, so I was a little skeptical. Okay, they're really going to have something that, looks, yes, modern-y, but still we don't want it to look too new age, if you will. We found the Jupiter style Galaxy Concrete Coatings, Jupiter style. And we're, again, thrilled with the results. We're talking indoor and outdoor concrete. It is garages, it's basements, it's patios, it's porches, it's sidewalks. I'd start online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com. They definitely specialize in patios. I think a lot of people want to spend time outside. We ate dinner outside last time as a family. And Galaxy Concrete Coatings is a big help in making that possible. So contact them today, indoor and outdoor concrete. It's galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Very fitting there for Mark Dykton. Under the lights tonight, Westfield, Indiana, a 2-hour practice for the Indianapolis Colts. I mentioned it on the other side, but James, I was looking back at last year's night practice. I mean, it was busy. It was humming. Shane did a couple of those kind of got-to-have-it situations. You're down 7, 46 seconds to go. You're starting on your own 30. You got one timeout. Boom, you got to go the length of the field and get it done there. Again, Daniel Jones threw 27 passes last year in the night practice. It was his turn to be the starting quarterback that night in the quarterback competition. I mean, James, there's some days he throws 7 passes.
Yeah.
In a practice. So if you're going out there, you're going to get bang for your buck tonight. And hell, your buck's only what? $5, $10?
Yeah, not just for parking, right? So should be a good time. Hope you all get to enjoy some of those festivities out there because as we know, this could be the last Colts training camp at Grand Park for a while. So if you're out there and you see us, say what's up.
You got to be stunned by this. People are reaching out all about this men's league football. I mean, we're talking full tackle.
I think those people are idiots, but wow. Here it is, Nick. We play for the love of the game. I play for the Miami County Blitz. Put some respect on our name, James. I will not put any respect on you all. I think you're insane.
Well, Nick also said he retired after a guy in our league died on the field. Yeah, that probably would send me into retirement.
Oh, I skipped over that message. I did not see that. Yeah, I see that here. Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Probably where the line is drawn there. Yeah. Mark, I see the blue raspberry milkshake and the big dill grilled cheese. That's what you're working with this year as the specialties at the dairy bar. Are you
please.
Big dill grilled cheese, Gouda, cheddar, pickle slices, and dill seasoning on sourdough?
That sounds great.
You might be pooping before that train gets back to you.
I'll be satisfied with my stomach, that's for sure. I'll have a blue raspberry shake and a dill pickle grilled cheese.
They list some of their classic favorites. I love that Italian melt and pepper jack on sourdough.
Oh, right there with you.
That's fire.
The blue raspberry milkshake, sweet, sour, and vanilla blended. Interesting.
I love the State Fair. I love trying all these random concoctions they come with every single year. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, can't wait. Yeah, Bowen family will certainly be out there. Jake Query will be out there with his show coming up tomorrow. That is the opening day out there at the State Fair, 10-1, of course, for Jake. Stephon Diggs joining the Commanders yesterday, James?
Yes, he did, and I think it's a good pickup for them. I never expected Brandon Ayuk to join them just because he's in a weird situation with the 49ers, but I understand the signing, and I get the reaction here from people who are saying, well, why didn't we go after Stephon Diggs if we need a veteran receiver, if that's a issue that we might have? So what were your thoughts on seeing another veteran receiver get snapped up? Because now that's Stephon Diggs and then Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I'm curious, what about demand? What about scarcity? Do we start to get into that game at all with some of these free agent wideouts? And again, free agents in the month of August, you can see a variety of things. Some might be waiting for the big injury. Some might be waiting for the right situation. Some might say, hey, they're halfway through camp. Okay, contact me again when they're all the way through camp. So there is a little bit of complexity, I think, in that. But, I mean, part of me is like, they have to do something here. And to me, James, it can't just be you get to August 30th, you do roster cuts, and boom, you go get the attracted undrafted free agent that couldn't make the Rams or whoever has a good wideout, deep wideout group. Like, I don't view it in that light at all. And I keep on going back to Ian Rappaport did mention that one other team he mentioned for Deebo Samuel and the 49ers, and that was the Colts. So is there interest? I mean, one other team, and it happens to be the Colts?
Yeah. I don't know, Kevin. It's a unique situation. Like, do you feel okay if they don't go the veteran wide receiver route?
No. I don't feel good at all. Puts way too much pressure on Tyler Warren, way too much pressure on health, way too much pressure on Shane Steichen to try to scheme things up.
So then my follow-up to that would be, do you feel like it's Keenan Allen or nobody? Or is there somebody else out there?
You want Tyreek Hill?
Brandon Cooks? No, I don't want Tyreek Hill. I don't know what he looks like on a football field, let alone all the stuff he brings off of it. If that was Tyreek Hill, that was still, Pro Bowl level, then
DeAndre Hopkins?
consider it.
Zay Jones? Any of those names?
I'm not mad at DeAndre Hopkins. I thought he had like a fairly decent year last year with the Ravens, I believe. So, again, you're not looking for somebody at this point, and nobody out there at this point is going to be flawless.
This from Ryan on the text line. Hypothetically, what's the reason the Colts haven't signed Keenan Allen? Seems like a no-brainer. Like, where's the disadvantage? What would you say to Ryan's comments?
I would agree. That's where I'm at. You have the cap space. If it doesn't work out, so what? You probably didn't spend much money on him. And if it works, it's a bang for your buck signing because he knows Shane's offense, or at least knows of Shane from his Chargers days. And looking at Keenan Allen, I get that he isn't the player that he used to be, but for the last, I want to say 9 straight years, he's had at least 700 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Let's call it 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. Would you take that for your wide receiver 3? I would.
Yeah, I think, Ryan, to kind of add to where I'm a bit confused by this is it's not like the wideouts that you're watching practice right now are in like the A.D. Mitchell, Darius Fountain, Deion Kane, hey, young draft pick that needs time to grow. We feel like this is the offseason for them. They needed development, and now here we are. I mean, if you look at the wideouts that are literally competing in that 3, 4, and 5 spot, I think they're all over the age of 28 or 29 years old. Like, what they are. They're not these, again, young, let's project them a little bit. Let's see what they could be. We felt like they had a good offseason. They're now training with this person. Like those sorts of stories that you do get in camp. Like A.D. Mitchell would be the poster child of that if he were still here. So that's where, again, Ryan, when you send that in, I'm just as confused as you are. And, I don't want to act like time is like ticking rapidly. But again, tonight is practice, 7 of 13? Things start, and Daniel Jones is going to take how many snaps in the preseason?
I would argue he's probably going to take none.
So that means practice means more.
Yeah. Practice are his games.
So, I would tend to think the urgency should be there a little bit more. Because it's interesting. When I watch the wideouts right now, when I see the starting receivers go out there with the starting lineup, I'm kind of like, wait, that's the starting receiver group? Like, I'm used to those guys being the backups. Now, conversely, when I go see the backup cornerbacks run out there with the second unit in 2026, I look at them and I'm like, wait a minute, those guys were the starters last year. Jonathan Edwards, Cameron Mitchell, Mekhi Blackman. I mean, those guys played a ton of snaps for the Colts last year at corner. And now they've all been relegated to the second team. So it's the huge contrast really at wide receiver and corner right now. And again, going back to wideout too, you are banking on pristine health from Alec Pierce and Josh Downs. And I know they've been relatively healthy in their careers, but still, not a game that I want to play.
I was going to add, you don't have pristine health right now in regard to Alec Pierce, who, by the way, Kevin, that update/non-update from Shane was something that I think it kind of went under the radar, but we're in week 2, about to wrap up week 2 of training camp, and I'm curious to hear your interpretation of it, but it doesn't sound like Alec Pierce is close, or at least as close as we would hope at this point in his rehab, to being back on the field.
No, and again, Tuesday coming up next week, that would be the end of kind of the original thought, 1 week to 2 weeks here. So, yeah, we await the return of one Alec Pierce. Night practice tonight. Stephen Holder going to join us here coming up in 20 minutes. Mark, do you think our 7 o'clock audience knows you pooped in the backyard?
No, they do now. Thanks for reiterating it. Again, this is me being a gentleman. This is me taking matters into my own hands. It's like, well, I don't want to have to do extra laundry if I don't have to.
Pooped in your own backyard, just to clarify to people.
Nature called and I answered.
I don't know how to react to that. I
You
wanna
guys would do
judge
the same
more.
thing if you were in the same situation.
Yeah, no.
Stop that. That's idiotic.
I think we're all in
That's
the same.
the dumbest
well,
thing
I'm
I've ever
glad
heard.
we're all in the same boat on this.
No, I would have said, Rosie Bowen, you can pinch one off in a few minutes. It's time for me.
It's time for me.
Yeah. Simple.
I believe I sent you guys a picture last night of what is acceptable in the backyard.
Yeah, that was. I
That
have
was
some
not
critiques of that too.
Expected to be
What do you
something I
mean?
looked at, but yeah.
What do you mean you got some critiques of that? That's a potty
You
trained
sent-
individual.
You sent us a picture of your son with his pants fully down in broad daylight, just whizzing in the backyard, right next to like where the patio is. I'm like, people are gonna step. That's a slipping
Oh,
hazard.
he was clearly getting it in the grass.
Well, I didn't see that.
Clearly
angle.
was in the grass.
I'm just saying that was a little too close to like walking area where you're stepping on your shoes and then you're walking in the house.
And we have a fence back there. So I have no doubt that there was proper privacy.
I'm assuming after that picture, I was like, Kevin's definitely done that in his backyard.
No.
Father like son.
To me, it's a long jog, sprint back in. I don't need him running like Daniel Jones to try to get inside to go to the bathroom. So, Max Bowen, you can drop trow and go ahead. But you going number 2 as a 39-year-old man or however old you are is just blasphemous.
Well, that sounds like you were setting the stage for Max to one day do the exact same thing. You just said it's a long walk back in.
If you're comfortable doing that in your own backyard, James, imagine what he's about to do on this bachelor party.
Yeah, you might need to stay away from the alcohol, brother.
No, I'm good. I was totally fine. I was just like, you know what? Pitch black outside. No one can see a thing. I'm fine. I'm
Boys-
golden, pony boy.
I'm looking at the food options for the state fair. The stomach is growling.
Ooh, tell us more.
Whew, man. All right, so
What else you got?
we talked about the dairy bar options. They also have, I'm looking at this. They have a butter dipped ice cream. Creamy vanilla soft serve dipped in real melted butter that hardens into a rich golden shell, finished with flaky sea salt for the perfect sweet and salty bite.
Oh, my God. Man, I think my heart would be on the Dayton ground of the backyard if I ate that.
They also have chili lime smoked chicken legs, apple cider vinegar, lime juice, chili, and it's smoked with avocado ranch on it. That looks amazing.
I'm just
Boy.
nervous we're going to come home with a goldfish. Have you guys Mark, have you guys come home with a
I
goldfish
never was a
or two?
goldfish kid. I never got a chance at a fish.
It wasn't a goldfish, but we do like white elephant gifts with my with Ashley's family at Christmas, and my brother-in-law got us a betta fish, and he died like 3 weeks later. And
What's
yeah,
the lifespan on a goldfish? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be long. I mean, Maddie, I swear she spent her paycheck at. Have you been to the Reef there at like 54th or 56 in Keystone, right across from old Keystone Sports Review? I love that Keystone Sports Review when it was there. Now it's up at like 75th, I think. But she spent. I mean, it was absurd how much time and money we spent at the Reef trying to keep this fish alive. And then, Mark, when the fish died, I think I found it. I think it was like on a day the Colts had media availability. I stopped at home after the show, got lunch, went upstairs. I'm like, that thing ain't moving. We watched the Daniel Tiger episode when a pet dies. Try to soften the experience.
works at a family gathering. Gather on the television.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch a show real quick.
Worked beautifully. Yeah, Dr. Anna's paying her respects.
We just flushed ours down the toilet and everybody watched. And then we just moved on with our day.
This from Cody. I never play tackle football in the Dykton backyard. Ain't that the truth?
A man with standards.
James, I like to update position battles when I get to this point in camp. We've watched 6 of the 13 practices, so just let's go rapid fire. And I guess wide receiver 3 we've talked a lot about. Backup quarterback. The Colts go and play tomorrow. Who's their backup?
Riley Leonard. And I say that because he hasn't been all that great throughout camp, but he also hasn't dropped as many snaps as Anthony Richardson. I think that Anthony Richardson has a snap issue, like seriously.
Like catching the football.
Catching the football.
Yes, he does.
And you can't trust somebody to be out there and be your quarterback number 2 if he's not capable of just seeing the ball into his hands.
Boy, people are saying Keenan Allen equals Andre Johnson 2.0. I mean, I don't know. What was
Well, you're
Okay,
going to pay him
but what's
versus
your
what you paid
downside,
Andre
though?
Johnson is going to be completely
Yeah,
different.
that's true too.
Yeah,
The
my thing,
financial compatible, it's not going to even compare.
well, my thing too, guys, is it goes back to kind of what I was saying a few minutes ago. It'd be one thing if you had this like 24-year-old former third-round pick where you're sitting there being like, we just need to give this guy reps.
Yeah.
You know, we drafted him. He's been waiting his turn. Here we go. Like, none of those guys qualify for that.
Right.
All of them are kind of older. You know what they are. You know, I'll steal the phrase Joel Erickson, used with us a few weeks ago. It just seems like they're all, a bunch of fours.
Yeah.
Okay. That Saul's backup quarterback. Where are you at defensive end opposite Latu?
Probably go Arden Key myself. Think that
Over
he's had
Jalen Tuimoloau?
Yeah, I think that he's had a couple of plays that have stood out a little bit more than Tui Moloau, and he just has more experience. Look, if we get to the season and Tui Moloau is pushing that group and is deserving of some time, I'm cool with it, but I think it'll be quite the jump to go from not playing hardly at all last year to being a starter.
Your starting linebackers would be who? This is the hardest one for me.
Oh, this is a great one. I'll go C.J. Allen and Bryce Betcher, 2 rookies.
Ooh. So you're not going to Akeem Davis-Gaither?
I'm not. They've rotated a lot. I know Akeem Davis-Gaither has experience in Lou Anarumo's defense, but I think you kind of have to start your second-round pick unless he is injured or something like that, and he's not. He's healthy. And with Bryce Betcher, I just feel like he's quietly guiding some good snaps. Where are you going?
Yeah, I think Akeem Davis-Gaither, I still believe he could be the guy. We know what Lou Anarumo thinks of his own. And so I would probably say Allen and Davis-Gaither. I mean, Betcher's certainly close. And the guy, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation on it, I believe it's Austin Ajaki is how you say it, number 58 out there. But he keeps on, like, I feel like I just kind of randomly look up during the practice, and I'm like, oh, there's number 58 of the starting unit again. Like, he gets more run of the starters than Jalen Carlisle, a former draft pick.
Yeah.
So that one to me is really, really wide open. Where are you at safety?
Oh, that's another good one.
We know Cam Bynum. The starter next to Cam Bynum would be who?
I'll go Hunter Wohler, who's currently out with the hamstring. But prior to that, Kevin, he had taken pretty much all the first-team reps at the other safety spot.
Yeah, so it was Hunter Wohler the first, 3 days of camp. And then, I guess, coincidentally, James, when he and Lou Anarumo kind of downplayed what that meant at that point. When they went indoors for that fourth practice on Saturday over the weekend, he got hurt, a hamstring issue. So I don't think he's returned.
He hasn't come back. But even in that practice, he was the starting safety next to Bynum on defense. And then he only really lost those reps, at least in my opinion. Now, Lou can probably give some clarity on this, but from what we saw, he only lost those reps because he wasn't available to take them.
So then A.J. Halsey, the rookie out of LSU, has been the guy here for the last 3 or 4 days. So that's one I'm like, okay, when Wohler gets back, is that going to be a real competition over the final month?
And if he's out for, because, hamstrings can be tricky. If he's out for a decent amount of time, does he lose too much ground and really make up with A.J. Halsey?
Mark, you said Tommy wanted to talk backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Let's head to the phone line. Tommy joins us here on this Thursday morning. What's up, Tommy?
What's good, fellas? Hey, I'm a Purdue fan, so I've got a little bias here, but I look at the Raiders. You got a third stringer, Aiden O'Connell. I mean, he seems way more capable than either Riley Leonard or Richardson. I mean, he's a proven quarterback. He's won. I mean, he had a run game in Vegas, not a great wide receiving core. He's had 4 or 5 coordinators and head coaches in his entering his 4th year. I mean, he's in the last year of his rookie deal. I don't know. It's for a late round, 6th, 7th round draft pick. I mean, he seems like an upgrade to a very important position that could be very important here at some point during the year. It seems like it's too much sense. He can guy who's got good accuracy. He can sling the ball around. Not the most mobile quarterback, but I mean, he's got a decent offensive line in front of him. So I just want you guys' thoughts.
Tommy, thank you for the call. James and I did that 53 question article before the start of camp. One of the 53 questions I wrote down was, will the Colts explore a veteran backup quarterback?
Yeah.
And Tommy kind of gets to that there. And not that Aiden O'Connell's like 35 years old.
Yeah.
But he has experience in the league. And, if you want to just kind of skill set everybody out, the thought with Richardson, even the thought with Leonard, is there are some attractive athletic traits there, whereas O'Connell's probably more of like your safeguard. Like, you kind of know what he is. He's a pocket passer, not going to move much, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, what do you want in your backup? Do you want your backup that has intriguing traits, potentially more volatility, or do you want a guy that might be a little bit more on the boring side, but maybe he could steer the ship afloat for 2 quarters?
Yeah.
If your starter went down. The Colts are clearly opting for the other side of it, but that was a thought that I had entering camp of, would we see any, like, if Richardson were to be traded tomorrow, are they just, here you go, Riley Leonard, or do they say, hey, we need to upgrade from Easton Stick as our 4th quarterback currently?
I would say I want stability, and I would think that is the same train of thought as Shane Steichen. The deciding factor, even during last year's training camp, between who would start and who wouldn't, between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, was, in my opinion, the stability that Daniel Jones provides you at quarterback. Now, they souped it up, and credit to Daniel and credit to Shane for making it look that good throughout the first half of the season. But that's a level of offense I just don't think that the Colts would be capable of getting to with Anthony. And even now, I would love to sit here and tell you, KB, that Anthony has progressed a lot and he's made a lot of improvements, but he looks more or less, in my opinion, like the same player we've seen the last few years, which is he can make a great throw. He had one the other day on the sidelines to Deion Burks, I thought was a rocket. I'm like, man, that's right on the money. And he'll have other plays where, like I mentioned, he drops the snap or he overthrows somebody, and you kind of get reminded of why it hasn't worked out for him. So I would probably lean towards a more stable guy, and that guy right now is probably Riley Leonard.
Well, and just to add a little bit more to the snap issues we've seen, I'd say more so with Richardson. We also have seen some with Leonard, to be fair, but definitely more so with Richardson.
That's fair.
James, the sample size is like he's dropping 1 or 2 out of 10, 12. Like, we're not talking a full game.
Yeah.
We're not talking a month. Like, if Daniel Jones over the course of a month dropped 2 or 3 snaps, we kind of be like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
But that, a month of football is what, 100 some snaps?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking Richardson is dropping, or again, there is an errant snap that's unable to be handled. We're talking busted plays, dead plays, 20% of the time?
Yeah.
15% of the time? That is way too high for a training camp practice. I mean,
And obviously in a real game, that is often a turnover.
or a drive killer at the very least, if you're able to pounce on it there. Shout out to Colton. Happy 7th birthday to listener Colton and his father, Matt. Love hearing that. Great human there. And listener Brad said he's in the drop-off line, Mark, at school. All is right in the world. Parents, rejoice.
Look at that. See? We're already a
that.
week in on ours, but yeah. Starting to ramp up here around Indiana.
Someone is asking here real quick, is Anthony's sight okay? That's a fair question.
Yes, very fair.
And we haven't heard from the backup quarterbacks throughout training camp so far. I should probably get a little more annoying about that to try to get them in front of a mic and just hear their thoughts on how things are going. But yeah, that is a question worth asking Anthony Richardson, because we know that was so much of the conversation even last year at the end of the year to see where he is. And I mean, I would even say up until the spring, Kevin, it was a question, and it remains one until he, I guess, shows otherwise. No one's in his body. No one can tell exactly how he's seeing. But yeah, I don't want to sit up here and act like that wasn't a big thing, because it was and it still is. And I think it's honestly a factor into why teams may not be interested in trading for him.
Well, again, if you go back to December, James, it was the vision immediately around him that he mentioned that was the big issue there. So much more on this coming up, 8 o'clock hour. Stephen Holder going to join us. It is the Fan Morning Show here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
I want to hear some of them deaf rhymes. You know what I'm saying? And together, we can get paid in full.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd. Breaking news from 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Mark, we don't use the breaking news sounder very often, do we?
No, but I would say this is more than worthy of it.
This in from one Adam Schefter. Jonathan Taylor and the Colts have reached an agreement today on a 2-year, $44 million extension worth up to $47 million. The guaranteed number, $39 million on that. So that news item has been crossed off the list. James, I didn't think we would have anywhere near the amount of drama we did 3 years ago. I think that is pretty clear that we did not have any of that. Taylor has been practicing. I thought the Bijan Robinson domino was an important one to fall. That fell a few days ago. And now you see Jonathan Taylor with the Colts here for another couple of seasons. Your thoughts?
Got it done, and rightfully so. I thought that he was very deserving of a contract extension, KB, mainly because he's delivered on his previous one. He has been one of the best running backs in the NFL. I think the annual average now puts him second behind Bijan Robinson for money. He's going to get about $22 million a year. Bijan's just over $22 million a year if you look at, his annual average. So I just think that it's a smart move for someone who, in my opinion, is very deserving of this sort of raise. And he said he wants to be a Colt for life, and he's one step closer to that today.
Yeah, again, it's kind of crazy to think back to just all the drama of 3 years ago, and now how rather quiet this has played out. And I remember we had this conversation back in June when Taylor expressed wanting a third contract, wanting to be a Colt for life, all of those things. And to me, it's just super rare in today's NFL, especially, to see a running back get a third multi-year contract with the same team. And the Colts have had rich running back history, and you just don't see it. I only think Derrick Henry got 2 with the Titans. Christian McCaffrey got traded. Saquon Barkley got traded. We'll obviously see the careers for Bijan Robinson or Kyron Williams or James Cook, but I think Jonathan's probably biggest leverage point was, I'm the 7th highest paid running back coming into this season.
Yeah.
And that can't happen. So I understand it from that aspect of it. The fact that you are able to keep it in kind of the 2-year realm, I think still gives you a little bit of hey, if Father Time is peeking around the corner, you're not in this awful situation here. So I get it from that aspect to it. Now, again, do you want to hamstring a new GM too much? I don't know if this puts you, I don't think it puts you in like cap hell or all of a sudden leaves you to have absolutely no wiggle room. Granted, that's a big old guarantee, right? You said $39 million on the guarantee for 2 years?
Yes. Was able to confirm that. So,
and Bijan was what, 51 guaranteed over 3 years?
Yes. So JT is now under contract through the 2028 season, which I figured that would be a nice way to line it up. When is Daniel Jones up?
It was a 2-year deal, right? So this year and next?
Okay. So he's got one more year on his deal. Now we'll have to see, what's the outs and things like that. And what's the, how I always look at this, Kevin, what's the real contract? We see this, okay, but where's the void years? Where's the potential outs? How is it structured? Those types of things, I think, really tell us the truth about where we're at when it comes to contracts and JT. But bottom line is, he deserved a raise, and he gets one right on the heels of after he told us he had talked to his agent after Bijan got done. So you don't get JT to really tell you anything that's not the company line. But I thought he finally broke rank a little bit the other day when he said, yeah, I probably should, see where things are at.
I was looking back on the saga of 2023. You had a Jonathan Taylor tweet one night at 10 o'clock. 1, never had a back pain. 2, never reported back pain. Not sure who sources are, but find new ones. It's
Jeez.
wild to think back at how much drama there was, from Taylor, who, I've always said this about Taylor. Taylor's not a good holder-outer. He's not a very, demonstratively, bang on the table, which is good for the Colts.
Right.
Because, I think he's a great pro. And, when you get into Taylor, and we had a show a few weeks ago where I remember we were looking up how many carries he had at Wisconsin versus how many carries Derrick Henry had at Alabama. Taylor has always struck me as someone that if they could tell Father Time to go sit over in the corner for a couple more years, it would be Taylor. He has always been a huge prehab guy. He's labeled, he loves talking about that probably more than anything, where, he'd have 28 carries for 250 yards at a road game at Wisconsin in college, and they'd come back, and first thing Taylor would say is, yeah, okay, guys, I'll meet you later. I'm going to head to the ice bath. That's just how he's wired. Now, again, Father Time at that position is usually pretty undefeated, but still, he strikes me as the individual that could still give you some pretty good football through the next couple of seasons. Now, I think it's vital that they're able to develop someone behind him.
Yes.
DJ Giddens, Seth McGowan, that to me is a huge part of just trying to alleviate some of the unbelievable workload that you've put on his plate.
So I'm looking at it now for the life of his deal. So if you look at this year, he's getting $14 million. Over the next 2 years, he'll get at least 44, according to some of the math. So if you add all that up, divide it by 3, his average will be about $19.3 million, which would put him, as I'm looking right now, as the third highest paid running back, or actually the third highest paid running back in the league based off annual average. This does not include Bijan Robinson, Jamar Gibbs, who will probably jump him when it comes to the annual salary whenever he signs his deal. But still, that's a good number for a guy who is 27. And so that'll put him behind Bijan, Saquon, and right ahead of Christian McCaffrey.
And again, just to clarify here, James, you said this earlier. Eric's asking, this is 2 years after this year, or this year is restructured with one more year?
I believe it is 2 years after this year. But good question. I should probably make sure I triple check that.
Yeah, so again, he has 1 year left on his contract here for 2026, and that was, him being paid the 7th highest paid running back. So, yeah, 3 years, $42 million. That was the contract back a few off seasons ago. And this has been my thought with the cap space the Colts have left. I know Mark, you had some fun with the audio back a few months ago where, Ballard got a little snarky about, cap space, blah, blah, blah. And my thought was, of the remaining cap space, which I want to say before this, the Colts had right around, I think it was like $30 million in cap space. My thought was you would use some of this for extensions, plural. Like I assume Quentin Nelson gets something done here in the next month.
Yeah, he should.
You think Josh Downs will?
No, I think Josh Downs probably, I don't want to say he doesn't want one, but I think he views his situation a little bit differently. Like he's not an unproven player, Kevin, but he can help a situation by having a great season. I don't think Quentin Nelson or JT could have helped their situations by having another great season because they've already proven themselves to the highest level. Whereas with Josh Downs, you're still having a couple of question marks of, okay, how productive can you be? How big of a focal point can you be in the offense? Things like that. Whereas the other two, we're talking about possibly gold jackets. It's probably a surefire thing for Quentin Nelson at this point. And if JT stays healthy, he could be joining them.
Josh Downs would be leaving money on the table, I feel like, ahead of this season. Because if he's mentioned, like I said, he mentioned cap, he wants to go out and prove himself. Well, if he has a big year, but you sign an extension now,
right,
you're settling.
Right. No, I'm with you on that. I think his answer kind of said that when we asked him about that back last week. So, again, the reported deal, 2-year, $44 million extension for Jonathan Taylor, worth up to $47 million, 39 guaranteed. That guarantee is certainly a big number. It's certainly a big number for a running back. I hate getting overly mathy when it comes to these things. It's hard to totally ignore numbers like that, but I'll be curious if we ever get to a time in pro sports where we talk about contracts more in the percentage of the cap versus the actual number. Jonathan Taylor got 3 years, $42 million, right? Back in 2023.
Yeah.
And 3 years later, Bijan Robinson got 3 years, $72 $2 million. To some people, they're going to be like, what? $30 million difference from Bijan Robinson to Jonathan Taylor? Well, how much has the cap gone up in the last 3 years?
Exactly.
It's like we probably should talk more in percentage of the cap. I know that makes it more confusing. Certainly not as confusing as the NBA can be when you're trying to figure out all these things. But I would say on the surface is a very fine, fair deal for the Colts. Yes, I understand it's running back, and you never know what's behind the corner there. But I do think that Taylor is still very much in his prime. You saw last season. I get there's a lot of mileage there, but I'd be surprised if he just fell off a cliff. I still think running back is one position that no matter how good you are, you need others around you. Because as soon as Daniel Jones got hurt last year, as soon as the passing game had no verticality to it, as soon as Tyler Warren dropped off, Jonathan Taylor did nothing for you the final 2 months of the season. And again, that's just the reality of the position. There's only so much that position can give you, and you got to get that runner to the second level. For Jonathan Taylor to truly be elite, you have to get him to the second level, and then he does the rest. And he's a true home run hitter at running back. I mean, he turns 15 into 50, I'd argue, better than just about anybody in the league. But again, we had that stat last year during the season where I believe starting with the Kansas City game, which was right around Thanksgiving. It's not like the Kansas City game was Christmas.
Right.
He didn't have a single rush over 15 yards, I believe, in the final. I think it was the final 7 games of the season, which is amazing. Like, how do you not break one? And I'm saying 15 yards. I'm not saying 50 here. How do you not have one that goes for 17? One that goes for 19? So that's why it's just so paramount that, yes, again, Taylor is an elite runner, but still, when it comes to that position, you start putting too much on the old running back's plate here. You start limiting some of the potency of the offense around him. It's going to show.
Can I ask you an inside baseball question?
I'm all ears.
How long have you had your JT extension story written? Are you like me right now? Because I'm trying to be, multitasking James and updating my story, but that thing has been sitting there probably for 2 months, maybe.
Let me go through the files right now.
And so for those listening, and I get it's kind of this nerd thing I'm talking about, but there is never a way for us to write as fast as you think. So if you ever see us post a link immediately, it's because we've been sitting on this thing for forever. You need maybe to change the date or the time or the exact wording and the numbers. But yeah, I've had the JT signs an extension story written for a couple of months now, and it lets you know how we're all feeling about it and how to be prepared because he deserves it.
What's the story in your draft that's been sitting there the longest?
Oh, should I share that? Let me look and see. Mark, this isn't anything crazy, but
is Anthony Richardson related?
I was going to say it probably is. Let me go back. You know what? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I do have the Anthony. I'm going through my files right now. I do have the Anthony trade story or release story.
Yeah,
here.
I have that. And also
now I'm looking at all my Taylor stories. I feel like are 2023. I have one here that says Taylor and Pittman both got a contract extension.
Yeah. Well, my weirdest one, Mark, is, and I'm still looking at it. I should probably just delete it at this point, but it's the Anthony Richardson won the starting job story over Daniel Jones from last year, where that obviously didn't happen, but I had both versions just in case.
You can delete that one, I think.
Think so?
I think so.
We're pushing Stephen Holder to 8:30. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah, at the very, very earliest. So yeah, he's obviously busy like you guys are. So I was like, hey, you need to get pushed back. He's like, please. So yeah,
Yes.
8:30 we're looking at least.
So he's a busy man here on this Thursday morning. I'm trying to think of, like, other dominoes off of this. They should still have. I mean, we'll obviously await updated cap situation, exactly where the numbers line for, how much they are trying to help out their 2026 situation. But I would still think they have plenty of room to do something with Quentin Nelson. I don't, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, boy, I don't think so. I just, especially Buckner with the injury situation, I would say no on that. And James, there is one thought I had, like when I saw the Deebo Samuel, or I guess when I saw the Stephon Diggs news yesterday, I believe the Diggs deal was 1 year up to $12 million for him. And to be fair, Diggs had a great year in New England last year, like a very good year.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen signed. Mark, do you remember what he signed to the Bears? Was it like 1 for like 7-ish.
I can look it up for you real quick.
Maybe it was last.
Yeah, I almost think it was a couple-year deal. It wasn't a 1-year deal because he was on the team for 2 years.
Maybe
but-
when he went back with the Chargers, it was kind of along those lines. But I guess I bring up that to say,
well, he was actually traded to the Bears.
Yeah,
it looks like
he was
right here.
traded, so he had 1 year left, and I think they signed him to a 1-year extension.
And
so it
then
was a 2-year deal.
what was
Last
his
year-
Chargers deal?
Last year he signed for 1 year, $3 million.
$3 million.
Yeah.
I mean, so again, that's super manageable if you're trying to bring him in here. Like I just bring it up to say, if you're all of a sudden worried about the Colts, oh my gosh, Taylor this, oh my gosh, Quentin Nelson that, would you have room to potentially sign a veteran wide receiver free agent? Yes. Do you think in any way, shape, or form they wanted to get these done before doing something like that, James?
Run that by me one more time.
You think there's any way they wanted to say, no, we want to get Taylor extension done. We potentially want to get Nelson's extension done before we entertain a veteran wideout?
Maybe, but I just don't see how, like,
I don't think it's that complicated.
yeah, like I don't think that, like, I'm looking at this like an oven, Kevin, and I'm not saying, okay, well, I don't have really room over there for, the chicken wings, and on this side, I don't have room for the asparagus and things like that. Like, it's fine if you get both done at the same time.
Dino Nuggets, you're going in the microwave.
Hey, shout out to Dino Nuggets, man. I just got me some more yesterday. I haven't eaten them in a while.
KB95 says their longest draft story is probably the Chris Ballard fired story.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, that is probably fair.
That
Heck.
one's got cobwebs on it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that one goes back to probably the Jeff Saturday year, right? What was that, 2022?
Yeah.
Gosh, Mark, I still can't believe we had him on the show the morning that he
I
was
know.
named interim head coach. Hell, what was that, like 90 minutes before he was named?
90 minutes.
Didn't he tell you couldn't come on like early?
Yeah, it got pushed back a little bit, but like nothing crazy. And he still joined us and talked about the game and all that stuff. But yeah, then my phone exploded.
This from Nick. You mean you guys don't poop out articles like Mark does in his backyard?
Man, can get a lot of thinking done. A lot of articles written.
And I got to know with Mark Dykton on the horizon. Hopefully, Stephen Holder will join us. Jonathan Taylor will be a Colt for a couple of more seasons. Much more on that on this morning checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by Suave Men Refreshing Face and Body Wash on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
So again, the report here, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, all your big names had it as you would expect. Right away, 2 years, $44 million extension worth up to $47 million. That is a guarantee of $39 million for Jonathan Taylor. That is a very healthy guarantee. And James, the thought is extended through 2028, right?
Yes, that is my understanding.
So again, 2026 in a contract year, then extended through 2027 and 2028. So cross that off the list. The Jonathan Taylor news item is complete. Colts will practice tonight, 8 to 10 p.m. It is a night practice, of course. And last year, it was a highly competitive and entertaining 2-hour session. So if you're heading up there to Grand Park, you should see a whole lot of action, a whole lot of situational football, 11-on-11 stuff. The kickers will kick, it sounds like. So it should be a busy night up there at the Drop Light Grand Park campus. Saturday and Sunday morning practices, and then they are off to Foxborough coming up next week for a joint practice and a preseason game with the Patriots. Tonight, inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, it's Fever, it's Aces, a slight favorite in this one, the Indiana Fever. James, a notable one on the schedule here for Stephanie White and company.
Huge game, an opportunity for you to prove that you're a championship contender. I do think the Fever have a chance to raise the trophy at the end of the season, but these are the teams you have to beat to kind of prove that throughout the regular season. So I think this is a great matchup. You got MVP candidates on both sides, and we'll see if the Fever can play enough defense, quite frankly, to get the win.
So again, that is 7 o'clock tonight. It is an Amazon Prime TV broadcast. That means Michael Grady, I believe, is your only option. I don't think you'll have Pat Boylan and Debbie Antonelli on this one, obviously. Our airwaves will start coverage at 6:30 with Mick Tidrow, and then John Nolan and Bria Goss will have you covered at 7. Major League Baseball yesterday. The brooms are out, Mark Dykton.
The brooms are out. The Cubs bullpen tried to make it interesting late in the game, but they held on strong. and they swept the Dodgers post-trade deadline. Tarek Skubal's debut spoiled, and Shohei Ohtani and PCA in the battle for the NL MVP. They both put on a show yesterday.
This from listener Peter. Imagine doing the dishes at your home and then you see Mark taking a poop in his backyard.
Oh, is that lovely young man with 3 daughters? What's he doing out there? Oh. No one could see. I was in the dark. It wasn't like Max Bowen whizzing in broad daylight.
Kids, we won't be playing in the Dykton yard for a while.
I'm not going to lie, Kevin, when you sent me that message, I was like, what the heck? But hey, that's childhood. That's life. Were you just like standing behind him, just proud? Like, you know what?
Kevin was
I've
doing
done
the
that a
same
couple
thing,
times.
probably off camera.
As long as he's not peeing on the carpet. I mean, we're all winners here. Let's not compare the 3-year-old peeing in the backyard to the 40-year-old pooping in the backyard, okay?
Mine was of a gentleman degree in the nighttime. Yours was in broad daylight with, people could easily see that.
We have a fence.
Okay. I forgot fences are impenetrable.
Are we betting tonight, the preseason
No.
game, the Hall of Fame game from Canton? We're not taking the over 30 and a half?
I'm not betting on it at all, but I guess I would take the over.
But you would take the over.
I would take the over.
Guys, 17-14 is a winner.
That's what I'm saying. Boy, are we going to be just like gravely wrong?
Panthers Cardinals tonight from
I don't
Canton,
know. Some of those
Ohio.
Cardinals practice videos. I saw Gardner Minshew get clotheslined the other day in practice.
Yeah, was that real?
That was real. Could you
Oh,
imagine if any quarterback got hit like that with the Colts?
Unbelievable. Adam Vinatieri into the Hall of Fame coming up this weekend in Canton, Ohio. Aaron Donald, speaking of Hall of Famers, speaking of first ballot Hall of Famers, sounds like he might be back. He worked out for the Rams yesterday. What else? Purdue going to announce their new AD, Tommy McClellan, coming up at 11 o'clock today. IndyCar out in Portland. That is a busy month of August here coming up for IndyCar as they close out their 2026 season. All right, much more to get to on the Jonathan Taylor contract extension announced here this morning. We'll hit that. And again, Stephen Holder going to join us hopefully at some point today. A little news on this Thursday morning on the Fan Morning Show. We'll continue to provide that for you here. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Rain chances return across the area for today. They'll be scattered about. Not everyone's going to get rain. A few thunderstorms as well, and still muggy with a high at 83. Tonight, patchy rain chances, still humid. Look for a low tonight down to 68. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien for The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, some news here on this Thursday morning. The night practice for the Colts will be here in about 12 hours. And if Jonathan Taylor is throwing out a few hundreds to those in attendance at the Droplight Grand Park campus, you will know why. This from ESPN reporting earlier this morning, probably about a half hour ago. 2-year, $44 million extension worth up to $47 million. That includes $39 million guaranteed.
Rightfully so for the running back who led the NFL in total touchdowns last year with 20. He's had back-to-back seasons of at least 1,400 rushing yards. Based off his annual average, he is now second in the league as far as salaries go for running backs, only trailing Bijan Robinson. That'll change probably. Kevin, if you look at, I know I said earlier he was third, but I actually like to go back and do some math. He would be second, and also on top of that, he would probably drop to third whenever Jamar Gibbs gets his new deal. But for a 27-year-old running back, I mean, the other two ahead of you, I mean, outside of Saquon, yeah, those guys are younger and, you know, kind of makes sense for them to get paid a little bit more.
For those that care about historical notes, it's quite possible, well, it's almost a given, unless an injury occurs, Taylor will be the Colts' all-time leading rusher here at some point in his career.
Yeah.
And it's quite possible it happens this year. He is 1,628 yards away from Edgerrin James atop that list. Last year, he was 1,585, despite barely doing anything in the final month and a half of the season. So a healthy, productive year, Taylor could certainly get there, if not probably early in 2027. And again, I'll continue to stress this, especially in today's NFL. It is just super, super rare at that position to see one player sign 3 contracts with the team, but especially 3 multi-year contracts with the team. And again, it was the 4-year rookie deal. It was the 3-year extension back in 2023. And now it's a 2-year extension here on this Thursday morning.
I can confirm that it's through the 2028 season, by the way.
So playing out 2026 and then 27 and 28 is the extension on that. And it's just, obviously it's such a credit to Taylor as a player that I never once kind of have looked at his career and thought, oh boy, he's starting to lose it. You know, father time, knocking on that door. I mean, James, last year, I think he was one of 11 running backs in the league not to miss a game. So when you look across the 32 teams, only 11 running backs played every single game last year. And I'd venture to guess of that 11, he might have been the only one never to pop up on the injury report. Not one time in 18 weeks. He is practicing every single day.
Yeah.
No veteran rest days, none of that from him. And I get it. He had some injuries the years prior, the ankle. I think didn't he have a thumb one time?
He did.
And missed a few games due to that. But he's pretty unicorny. I mean, I know Derrick Henry looks unicorny.
Yeah.
But Taylor is pretty unicorny as well, just in his durability and his productivity that really date back to his first days at Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's a freak and one of the best players. I was actually talking to Rick Venturi yesterday. That story's up on The Athletic. I know you got other newsworthy things to read over at The Athletic and 1075thefan.com because Kevin does a great job as well. But listening to Rick talk about JT, and he's still in awe of him. I mean, this guy's been around the game for many decades at this point, and he said with JT, he's one of my favorite players ever. And he talked about the smoothness in his running, the speed to power. You hear that often, that phrase, when it comes to defensive ends. Can they, take their speed and edge rushing ability and turn it into power, ferocity? And that's what JT is, man. He's a home run hitter. He gives you everything when it comes to the running back position, whether that's, the tough yards, the home run hitting like we talked about, and just the volume. I mean, that's a guy who, when you get a lead, you can use him to kind of put the game away. And sometimes even when you're down, if you hand him the ball, he'll get you right back in the game.
Boy, I'm going to, this is about as smooth as a contract. When you compare this to 2023, boy, This is as smooth as a baby's bottom right here in this contract extension. I want to be a Colt for life. Ballard's comments last Tuesday, James, pretty complimentary towards Taylor. Carly Ursay-Gordon's comments last Friday, pretty complimentary towards Taylor. Bijan Robinson domino happens on Tuesday. Taylor says he needs to talk to his agent. 48 hours later, 36 hours later, here we are. That's some nice business.
So what you're saying, do you miss how things went the last time? A little more razzle-dazzle for the radio? This isn't great radio, Kevin.
No, it's not. It is funny because the Colts don't usually have super public contract standoffs. Like, and I think that's what contributed to the Taylor thing being so, big, I guess. Obviously, Taylor was a great player, and it got really, really public. But, I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like, I don't remember the Colts having these big public contract disputes. And nowadays, seemingly every team has one. Each offseason almost. It's like every team has, this player's going to hold in during the spring. This player's going to hold out during camp. This player has said, this, that, Vita Vea this. I mean, it almost seems like every team has it. And, for the most part, I feel like the Colts have been pretty quiet. Mark, you said Stephen Holder going to join us in 5. Is that right?
Yeah, he needed like a 10-minute extension.
Okay, so we'll chat with Stephen Holder coming up at 8:40. Get to him, Marks. I got to know here in the 9 o'clock hour. Reminder, it is a night practice for the Colts tonight. That is 8 to 10 p.m. For those that are unfamiliar with this, under Shane Steichen, it was a very competitive situation last year. Daniel Jones was the starter on this night when he was splitting time with Anthony Richardson, and that competition was playing out. Jones threw 27 passes. Richardson threw 19. And for those not familiar with how training camp practices work, that's a ton. That is a ton of workload for those two guys. So assuming tonight follows a similar cadence, you should be getting your bang for your buck up there in Westfield. This from Carter, James. Does this free up even more cap space going into the 2026 season?
That's one thing I probably can't answer right now, Carter, until we get the details of the deal. I know right now what is reported is not always what comes down the pipeline. For example, we heard about Bijan Robinson. He signs his 3-year contract worth $75 million, $25 million annually. Well, really, now that the actual contract is in and people have probably seen it, it looks like his deal is for 3 years, $66.75 million. Now, the 75 could be like what it's worth up to, but there's always a little bit of like nuance there with how these things get reported by players and their agents and sources and things like that. Everyone else has an agenda, and if you're on the player side, it helps you to say, well, this deal could be worth up to this, or it is this, when in reality it could be a little bit lower. So I have to see if this is a true $44 million contract extension over the next 2 years, or if that number comes in a little bit lower. And then again, how is it structured? Is it, a little bit front loaded or things like that?
It better be front loaded. I mean, you're sitting on all this cap space.
Well, I know it'll be front loaded. I meant like how much front loaded is what I mean.
I guess I'm answering Carter's question here. Like, does this free up more cap space? My thought is no, and it shouldn't. I mean, you have 30-some million in cap space is not an issue for the Colts in 2026. They have plenty of cap space to sign Keenan Allen tomorrow.
So you're saying even though he signed a 2-year, $44 million extension, some of that money should get pushed into this season?
Correct. I mean, because again, accounting-wise, you're sitting on $31 million of cap space. And what's the guarantee?
39.
So you're already giving him $39 million anyways. So yes, you want to give him that money,
and then you can have your out
with your accounting here. Yeah, then you can have more of an out in 2028.
Yeah,
I think is what. Now again, there's not going to be that big of an out because what's this contract reportedly up to 47? Was that what Schefter said? So at the most, if you have 39 guaranteed, it's worth up to 47. That leaves $8 million on the table. Taylor got a hell of a deal in terms of guarantee. I don't know many contracts you see with, what's the percentage? Mark, do this, 39 of 47.
You want me to do math right now?
Yes, you have a calculator back there.
Sure.
That's a huge percentage.
His math is a little shaky sometimes.
I was going to say, you're relying on the wrong dude.
Because what was Bijan Robinson's guarantee? 51 of 70, whatever it was rumored to be.
51 of like 75.
I mean, 39 of 47 million. That's big for a running back, especially if, like you said, the deal's more in the 2 to 44 range.
Yeah.
Good on Taylor. Good on Malki Kawa.
Yeah. He's taking a couple victory laps on Twitter this morning.
Is he?
Yeah. I think he's got a little thing with Pat McAfee.
Ooh.
Because McAfee, back in the day, said perhaps the Colts shouldn't pay Jonathan Taylor. Now, granted, way back when, a couple years ago, JT was not coming off of great seasons. And, yeah, it seems like Malki Kawa has kind of held on to that because he put out here on Twitter, hey, at, Pat McAfee, look what we just did kind of thing. Never dull.
I'd ask Mark if he's done this, but I'm afraid he hasn't.
Sorry, I'm texting with Holder right now. We're figuring things out.
83% of the guarantee. I mean, that's big. It's a big guarantee. So, yeah, I mean, again, to answer Carter's question, your cap space is not being held back at all in terms of adding a veteran wideout. And what did we say earlier? Keenan Allen was $3 million last year.
Yeah.
So, nothing on that end. Stephen Holder's still coming up next, Mark?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, we shall see.
We'll wait and see on that. It is the Fan Morty Show. Jonathan Taylor remaining a Colt here for the extended future. Much more on this news story here on this Thursday morning. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. We Grow Hair Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration. They are located the northwest side. The Pyramids, building number 2. We got one of the best in the business right here in our own backyard. So definitely reach out to them. Get answers to the questions you have. A free evaluation, a virtual evaluation, a private evaluation. Again, it is We Grow Hair Indy. They are the gold standard for hair restoration. Online, you can see great before and after pictures and videos. And they are ready to help you out today. So again, that is We Grow Hair Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration. The Andy Moore Group campus in Avon. One-stop shop, 4 different brands. That would be Kia. That would be Nissan, Toyota. How about the Volkswagen brand? Shout out to GM Mike. He actually used to be the GM over at the Nissan dealer out there and slid down the campus and now is at the Volkswagen dealer. And he has told me that if someone comes in, mentions my name, Kevin Bowen, they're going to get $500 off their purchase. So you got to love that. Again, that is Mike over at the Volkswagen dealer in Avon. Right off of Rockville Road, the Andy Moore Group campus has 4 different brands: Nissan, Toyota, Kia, Volkswagen, Atlas, Tiguan, all of that available to you. 0% APR on those via Volkswagen. So again, check that out today. The Andy Moore Group campus in Avon. Tell them Kevin Bowen sent you.
what's up, son? What's up, kid? What's going on?
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
All right, let's get to Stephen Holder. Obviously, the news of the day, and we appreciate Stephen making a few minutes for us. Reportedly, a 2-year contract extension for Jonathan Taylor, $44 million extension worth up to $47. That includes a $39 million guarantee. Stephen Holder from ESPN with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. The guarantee certainly sticks out to me, Stephen. That's a big number, a big percentage, frankly, of the overall extension. What were your thoughts when you saw all those numbers?
Well, I think first off, that Jonathan Taylor should really send Bijan Robinson a Christmas card, first of all, because I don't think the timing was completely unrelated, right? They didn't just start talking, obviously. They have been talking. But that doesn't mean it was going to get done or get to the number that he wanted. It certainly, I'm not saying this is the only reason this happened, but I definitely think it helped, you know. When you see a big number like Bijan had and the guarantees and just the overall, all of it, all the numbers, I think it set a tone, I feel like, you know. And the trend had been going that way for a while, and there's just a lot less of an argument for the Colts to make. You're a running back, you're 27, like those, you know, the arguments were starting to sort of peel away for the Colts. And I think the leverage shifted really to Jonathan Taylor, if not from what he did the last 2 years, certainly in recent weeks and months.
Again, that's the voice of ESPN Stephen Holder, their Colts reporter. Holder, this falls in line with everything we heard from Carly Ursay-Gordon about, hey, I want JT to be a Colt for life. I would love for that to happen. And Chris Ballard saying that he was in a good spot. So how do you feel about the length of it, though, going into the 2028 season? I think it's his last year on his deal now.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I think, you know, you're kind of lining him up, you know, with some of your other contracts, and or at least, you know, puts him in the same ballpark as some of those bigger contracts. But it's not, it doesn't extend him out, you know, in like a very long way where it's, you know, like an unpredictable situation. I mean, he keeps himself up pretty well physically. Injuries are always a possibility, but I mean, if he's healthy, I don't see a huge decline, right, for Jonathan Taylor in a couple of years. I think there's going to be the usual decline that you see from a guy. But, you know, we have seen running backs that just completely fall apart once they get to a certain age. It doesn't feel like Jonathan Taylor is that type of guy. Just the last couple of years, the way he's, in some respects, gotten stronger, you know, and handled a lot of volume. So maybe he's just different is what I would say. So I think it makes sense. The other thing that's interesting here is that, not related to your question, but it's interesting. I would say a couple weeks after the mandatory minicamp, so late June, early July, I was getting signals that this was not going anywhere. The talks with Jonathan Taylor. In fact, I heard some pretty negative things about where it was headed, and was wondering, like, okay, is he, you know, is this going to happen? And if it doesn't, how's he going to handle this, right? I mean, that is always a question with Jonathan after the last contract negotiation. And so I wasn't like 100% sure he was going to show up and practice and do all those things to start training camp. So something shifted, and I think the Colts certainly made a commitment to try to work earnestly to get something done. And you could tell in the tone that we have heard from Jonathan Taylor in the past week or two.
Again, Stephen Holder, ESPN, with this news of the day, a 2-year extension for Jonathan Taylor. Stephen, we want to be respectful of your time. So last one, because I know it's a busy day and busy night for you. What do you think this does to a potential Quentin Nelson extension the next month, and also to any sort of veteran wide receiver free agent signing potentially?
Well, I don't think it, first off, on the receiver front, I don't think it really precludes him from doing that. I mean, if they want to do that, in my opinion, it won't be a financial decision. Like, I think the one guy out there who was going to make significant money was Stephon Diggs, even though he is to some degree a little bit of a train wreck off the field. On the field, like, he's still a guy who could command some some salary. I didn't see what Debo got paid with San Francisco, but I assume his injury.
It was
history,
worth up to 12, I think was the language. So
okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, fine. That's fine. But I mean, I understand Debo is still a viable guy if he's healthy. So I think those were the last two guys that were really going to command any like significant money. I look at Keenan Allen. I don't think it's a huge number if he signs, just given his age and maybe, just sort of where he's at in his career. But I don't know. I think it's worth it for them to do it no matter what. But anyhow, to your question, I'll put that to the side, the receiver question. I think the Quentin Nelson question, I think if they want to do that, they can. Look, he's already making a big number this year. So from a cap perspective, there's nothing to preclude them from doing it. That cap number is probably going to be similar, if not go down, if you do a contract extension. The question is going to be, you're going to have to write him a check. There's going to be a big signing bonus, and that is going to be guaranteed money. So you're making a bigger commitment, and you are putting out actual cash today. That's where the decision comes from. But if you're committed to that player long term, I would argue you're going to pay it now or you're going to pay it next year, either way. So maybe it doesn't matter.
Again, Stephen Holder from ESPN, the Jonathan Taylor News, certainly front and center on this Thursday morning. Stephen, we talked to you in the 8 o'clock hour, and we'll see you in the 8 o'clock hour tonight.
Crazy day, isn't it?
Thanks, man.
He loves seeing me.
Stephen Holder, we appreciate him being flexible not only yesterday with a couple Daniel Jones interviews that we wanted to get to, and then also moving around today. Yeah, again, I don't think this is anything to worry about, whether you want Nelson to get done, whether you want a veteran free agent in here. No, I think this was always something that, once the Trey Hendrickson thing played out in the manner that it did, it just seemed like the Colts decided to sit on the back burner big time in free agency. And with this remaining cap space, I was always under the impression extensions. And here's one, and I expect another with Nelson.
Yeah, there's just certain players that should probably be GM proof. Even if changes are made, I don't think any general manager is going to look at this Taylor contract and say, A, I don't understand it, and B, I don't want this player. Yeah. So it makes sense. And also, beyond just the GM stuff, Kevin, I think that I know that their window is right now. So to me, it didn't help you if you, for example, hadn't given JT this contract and let's say he leaves next summer. That doesn't make your team better at all. You still don't have a first round pick. You will not get a player to replace him that's as good as him. So to me, it's better to just reward him now because you're already quote unquote all in.
Yeah, I still, your GM proof is, certainly a phrase that, hell, Jonathan Taylor's on a pathway to Canton, Ohio, as is Quentin Nelson. There just still is and again, this is a different conversation, but to me, there's a philosophical, how do you build the proper NFL team? What's the ideal blueprint? How do you allocate resources? To me, I still side with your premium draft picks have to be spent on premium positions. Like a guard at 6 overall, and even Taylor. It just hasn't led to the team success that you want. And to me, it's just a byproduct of the positions that they play. And again, you saw it firsthand last year when Daniel Jones went down. Taylor was a nobody the final 2 months of the season. And I don't say that because I think Jonathan Taylor is a bad running back. No, I think he's a great running back. But that position can only carry so much of the individual weight for your unit. And again, this is much more of I've always said, like, I wouldn't draft a running back until the third day, ever. I just think the position is too interchangeable, too volatile, too short of a shelf life to do that. And I'm not saying there's I think for the most part, like if Mark did a poll right now, it was like, Colts fans, do you like the extension for Jonathan Taylor? I would guess the number would be 80 or 90% that would say yes.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of money in a running back. It's a lot of money in a guard.
I get it.
And the team success is not, fit that bill. It's like, would you rather have a Jonathan Taylor or like, let's call Jonathan Taylor let's call him an A player, okay? Would you rather have Jonathan Taylor over the last 5 years, or what if that player was a B+ defensive end? or a B plus cornerback.
Yeah.
What do you get more out of? Like, I think there's positional importance in the NFL. I
Yeah.
think there's positional value. And so that would probably be maybe the one gripe you would have. GM proof, I get what you're saying. And it's just how much do you want to, the Daniel Jones contract, I guess, is only 2 years, but how much do you potentially want to hamstring? And the one thing to note about this Taylor deal, because we kind of debated this, James, would it be a 2-year extension or would you just say, hey, man, we're going to give you one more big deal?
Yeah.
Big in length as well. And this is kind of siding on the front side of all of that. So maybe that's a conversation we get into here a little bit more in the 9 o'clock hour. And I got to know with Mark Dykton, mercifully, the 9 o'clock hour today should be better than yesterday. So hopefully up front I can say that.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, yeah, at 8:55 yesterday, I didn't know what we were about to enter. Thank you, Mark, for that. Jonathan Taylor, a Colt for a couple more years. Much more on that final hour.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
9 o'clock hour on a Thursday. 12 hours from now, we'll be halfway through what should be a pretty intense night practice if it follows the same script as last year. It's day 7 of Colts camp from the Drop Light Grand Park campus, Westfield, Indiana, where we will be. It's a lone true night practice of camp. The joint sessions coming up here in a few weeks. Those will be kind of late afternoon. I think J&V will be out there for those. Reminder, the Fever back in action tonight inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse at 7 o'clock. Fever and Aces, so notable opponent. Fever actually going for the season sweep over the Aces. One Michael Grady on the call for Amazon Prime with that one. And again, the news of this Thursday morning. James Boyd, you have confirmed this deal. Give us the numbers on the Jonathan Taylor contract extension.
2 years, $44 million, up to $47 million in total value, with $39 million guaranteed right now. And then on top of that, because I know there was questions about it, the deal is through the 2028 season. So this is not a bump this year and one more year. No, this is a true 2-year extension. So he'll play the rest of his current contract out this year with 2 more onto that. So again, he'll be under contract through the 2028 season, which would be when he's what, KB? 29?
Yeah, he'll be 28 in January.
It is kind of crazy that he's on his 3rd contract and he's going to still be under 30.
But you know what helps, Mark? And I thought about this the other day. It almost helps him that he wasn't a first-round pick. Because if you're a 2nd-round pick as a running back and you ball out like Jonathan Taylor has, then you're able to get to your 2nd contract and therefore your 3rd contract quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it's like, of course, everyone would love to be a first-round pick. You get more money up front. But he's probably going to make more money. Granted, he's a great player. He deserves it. Than, let's say, a good first-round running back from his same draft class.
Well, that's why Robinson wanted the extension done now.
Right.
Because he's 3 years in, like Taylor was. Even though Atlanta has team control on Bijan Robinson for 5 years, that's why they wanted to get done. Mark, he also left Wisconsin a year early. So I think that's what contributes to him being a little bit on that younger side. Again, he carried the rock a ton. Remember we did that a few weeks ago, guys? You know how many more carries Jonathan Taylor had at Wisconsin than Derrick Henry?
Yeah, it was insane.
I mean, it's a ton more. I mean, Taylor is, I'll go back to what I said a little bit earlier in the 8 o'clock hour. Taylor's a unicorn. He is an outright unicorn at running back. Now, he's not the Christian McCaffrey unicorn, like Christian McCaffrey could go play wide receiver tomorrow and be great in the NFL. He's not the Derrick Henry looking unicorn, but he's a unicorn in his durability and his consistent productivity dating back to the first time he stepped on a Big Ten field.
Yeah.
I was looking this up for a story I wrote on Taylor in the offseason. We know last year he didn't miss a single game. We know last year he didn't miss a single practice. If you stretch that back, he's played in 27 straight NFL games, and he has double-digit carries in 27 straight NFL games. That, to me, is kind of noteworthy. It means basically he didn't get hurt early in a game and have to leave. And if you look up, honestly, I should pull back up. If you look up where that compares to the rest of the running backs in the NFL, no one sniffs that. No one is currently on that sort of a streak of as many games, 27, with double-digit carries.
Yeah.
He's just so reliable at a position that, frankly, is probably the most unreliable of any position. It's probably the most beat-up position in the NFL.
I would argue that in cornerback. I feel like cornerbacks
corner. Yeah, that's a good one.
Very volatile, but yeah, he's delivered. He's done everything he's supposed to on this deal. Now, the question just becomes, as far as a football perspective, can he hold up over the next few years to make that deal worth it? But even in the current state, before we can see the future, of course, I think it was the right deal to do, a smart deal to do. Like you mentioned, Kevin, they have the cap space to front load that deal, perhaps bump his salary up even this year, and then create what we call an out in your contract, meaning, yes, the deal might say it's through 2028, but let's say it doesn't really work out. He starts to decline. Is there a way for you to get off of that contract a little bit sooner? We'll see. But I think this also is a good message to your locker room. Kevin. I'm not saying that, these guys have been perennial playoff contenders and Super Bowl contenders, but when you reward one of your best players, a guy who does pretty much everything on the field the right way and off the field, to give JT credit there too, I think that's a good message to send.
I see your guy, Austin Mock, here from The Athletic. He had the model for a Taylor contract coming in a little bit lower than what ended up being.
Yes, he did.
Basically saying a very good deal for Taylor.
It is. And again, I think a lot of that had to do with, like you said, the mileage and the age. Because the production, if you just look at that in the vacuum, he's worth every penny in that regard.
So again, tonight, 8 to 10 p.m. So we got here on the text line, Cam Bynum told Jake earlier this week they'll be scrimmaging again tonight like they did last year. Yeah. I mean, there's no live tackling that's going to be going on here with the starting offense, starting defense, just to be very clear. But, I mean, it's really one practice sandwich in between 2 off days with the night practice, and then you practice twice over the weekend. And, again, your starters, a week from tonight, it's Colts-Patriots, right? Is the preseason opener a week from tonight?
Yes, because I'll be going to Boston next Monday after the show.
Yeah, so we'll get to that here upcoming. Mark, you got I got to know for us on this Thursday morning?
Oh, sure.
He's got questions.
How about a game?
They've got answers.
Hey, I'm more of a cornhole man myself.
Sports, music, movies.
What?
High fashion.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
And everything in between.
You ever seen a foot with 4 toes?
It's time to get a glimpse into the mind of Mark Dykton.
Stop it, you're scaring me.
It's time for I Gotta Know.
Okay, you 2 punks, I want a good, clean fight. Let's get it on.
All right, boys. Obviously, the talk of the morning has been Jonathan Taylor's extension with the Colts. So I think we all assume Quentin Nelson should and probably will be the next to get an extension. Who's getting an extension from the Colts after Quentin Nelson?
Okay. Good question.
By the way, before we start, getting into the brain of Mark Dykton after how the 9 o'clock hour went yesterday seems a little ludicrous.
Might be a little crazy.
Should we have banned him from this segment for another week?
Should you abandon the Reds?
Too late now. We're in it, brother. We're in the muck.
Ugh. In the muck. Boy, yeah. Talk about the Dykton backyard.
Well, I want to say that Josh Downs should be the next person to get an extension, but I don't think he'll sign one. And I don't know if he really should. I'm looking at some of these other guys for the year 2026. The list is kind of bleak, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, no one jumps out. I mean, I guess technically it's like, would you count Downs as an extension if he signed one a day before the new league year in March?
Sure.
Or,
Staying with the team.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying who gets a new deal with the team?
Yeah. DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart. Those are all other guys that are eligible.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Downs to me would probably be the most likely. I don't know. Buckner, yeah. I mean, if Buckner's healthy.
He strikes me as somebody who would want to stay in Indy. He wouldn't be at that price point anymore, to be clear. I think he's getting $23 million this year.
I might go a little off the grid here. Let's go with a Grover Stewart late season extension.
Oh.
Another healthy year for Grover. He signs a 1-year extension. 2-year extension.
Well, if we're getting weird, let's get weirder. Blake Groupie.
I thought you were going to say Anthony Richardson.
No, I'm not going that. I'm not that crazy. I'm trying to get people to continue to listen to us here on the airwaves. Blake Groupie, 5'7" giant kicker, puts in a great season with the Colts. Gets an extension early next offseason.
Groupie would be a good one.
All right, you guys have been out at Colts camp every single day. Is there a player or position group that has disappointed you or left you wanting more out at Colts camp so far?
I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, but I look at that wide receiver room, and I'm like, boy, they need some juice in there. And Alec Pierce will provide a lot of that if and when he gets healthy, but I think they could really use one more veteran presence for sure with wide receiver.
We're 2 days into full padded practice, Mark. I want to be very clear on that. But I think I'd like to see a little bit more from the 4-man rush. What does that look like? Latu, Arden Key, Buckner, Grover, are you using Adetomiwa Adebare? Are you using Colby Wooden? I mentioned they had a couple sacks, blitzing sacks the other day. So I think, can you get a little bit more out of that 4-man rush group?
All right, one more about the Colts. You feel the same, better, or worse about the Colts than you did at the start of camp?
I feel a little bit better. I do. I think seeing Daniel Jones move the way he has gives me some excitement there. And then I know it's just camp. You can't really tell what the trenches look like, but I like the offensive line. I think that's one of their strongest units on the team. So they'll be able to protect them. And so I feel okay. And then the cornerbacks have looked really good. Now they're going up against wide receivers who aren't true number one type of talent. But, yeah, I would say I'm a little bit higher on them than I was.
Yeah, I would say Jones definitely qualifies, I think, in the positive category, certainly. Wideout and corner have kind of gone two different ways for me. Corner, I was very optimistic about that group entering camp, but kind of seeing the individual playmaking, like seeing Justin Wally, especially, like coming back from the torn. We kind of forget with Wally. It's like, oh yeah, that man torn his ACL less than a year ago, and he's out there making some plays. So I'd say corner fits. Wide receivers looked a little bit more alarming for me, and the fact that we are now entering, what are we, about a week and a half into camp without Pierce? We are starting to near the Pierce situation of he's going to have potentially less than a month to get ready for the start of the season. And he's such a critical piece of this offense. Mm-hmm. Again, we've really yet to see the Colts play football without Pierce or even a limited Pierce.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, if you're taking away home run ability, that's big.
We're talking about the best deep threat in the game, no less.
Right.
Okay, are the Fever going to eventually have too much outside noise that bleeds into their on-court performance? I feel like there's been a lot of off-the-court stuff with the Fever, whether it's Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, all that stuff. Is it eventually going to get too much and it'll start affecting their on-court situation?
I don't think so, Mark, because even amid all of the off-the-court discussions, they were 8-2 over the last month, and you saw all the awards they were winning. You had Caitlin Clark Player of the Week, Kelsey Mitchell Player of the Month, Stephanie White Coach of the Month. It seems like they have a lot of mental fortitude to get through that. But I will say, when it comes to Sophie in particular, you can have your opinions as you wish on whatever topics, but you got to perform. When people talk about Caitlin Clark and the discourse gets kind of crazy, people also can realize she's a star. When you're a role player and you're bringing a lot of discussion to your team, you're not performing. That's what I think when it can get to be a really bad negative, if that makes sense.
Mark, I think it's a really fair question. And yeah, there is a little bit of, I think, uncertainty to me. I understand they played pretty good basketball here, obviously, but their best stretch easily of the season, I should say, here amidst probably more of it bubbling. But God, it just seems like you can't go a day or so without it. I mean, to James's point, yeah, I do find it like the most prevalent newsmaker lately in this realm has been a player that comes off the bench for you. I think in past instances of this in sports history, it typically doesn't end well for that team, like from a chemistry cohesion standpoint. When it's more of your prominent players, it almost seem like you can kind of get by with that because they're so good. Yeah, but again, Sophie is not that. I mean, she's not Caitlin, she's not Kelsey, she's not Aaliyah. So yeah, I think it's a really fair question. I think Stephanie White's got so much on her plate. God bless her.
Shout out to Coach White.
Coach of the month, right? In July?
Yeah, I mean, she takes a lot of heat, but where this team is at, kudos to her.
All right, we've had some fun at my expense the last 24 hours, so join me in the cesspool. Each of you give me one of your most embarrassing moments. Share it on air with the class, please.
Most embarrassing moments.
Didn't I already do mine?
Oh, the toilet thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
no,
crazy.
No, there's more than that.
What do you mean?
I don't know if there's more than that.
What else do you want? What Jake Query shared with
I'll
us
tell you this,
to end the show yesterday?
This is a true story. First day of college, my parents dropped me off, and I was trying to find the McDonald's. Shout out to Green Street in Champaign, and I had slides on, and I'm going to jog across the street, to play it all cool, like all those cars coming, they're waiting for me. Let me just pick up the step. I tripped and face planted so hard in the middle of the freaking street. And it wasn't like this little fall. It was like a legit fall. I had a scrape on my hip and my hand, and I'm at the time, 18, 19 years old. I'm like, how am I falling in the middle of the street first day of my parents leaving? It felt like I was in a movie. Like, you literally face plant and you have nowhere to go but up from there. But yeah, having like a couple of campus people look at me like, look at this nerd freshman falling in the middle of the street. That was pretty embarrassing.
Gosh, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had a moment or two like that of the old campus. I think I told you guys I was walking on campus a couple of years ago, walking down Kirkwood, and just a ton. I mean, these girls looked like they were ready for the biggest sorority party. It was one of those, you get the 75-degree day in March.
Yeah.
You're like,
no, that's a gym in college.
A gym. And I was just like, gosh, there's like a million of them. And I just smoked the curb with my shoe. I'm like, Kevin, will you just not look like an idiot for a second here? So probably one of those moments. I mean, Maddie would say
that smooth stepping that got you, Maddie.
Yeah, I fall on the clumsy side. I don't have the same rhythm unless Young Jock is playing. But yeah, clearly it's putting the hand in the old porta potty to save the prescription sunglasses.
I was gonna say that takes the cake right there. I was talking to Jake off air yesterday, and I said, "See, at least what I did was like my own recipe. You were in the community. You were in the soup kitchen. You were in the community pot with the porta potty.
In the soup kitchen is crazy.
Trying to be a man of the people.
Okay, well, sure, whatever. What are we watching? I'll start so you guys can marinate. Season 4 of Ted Lasso debuted yesterday. We watched it. It was excellent. Good to see the gang back together. So I'm very curious to see how this new season goes after season 3 seemed to be the series finale. They're kind of spinning it off with a women's soccer team now.
Yeah, that's next up for us in the Bowen household. Last night, I had slept terrible the night before, so I was like, yeah, Maddie, I'm going to go to bed pretty quickly. She's like, okay, perfect. I'm all in on this Idaho murders documentary.
That's what Ashley said. She said, are you aware of this? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
And next thing you knew, I was kind of up for like a half hour. Like, it was one of those where I'm like, I could fall asleep instantly, and then I'm like, wait a minute, is it already 10:15? Like, what am I doing here? So, yeah, I mean, beyond tragic story to the nth degree, but sounds like a very complicated story as well. I won't reveal much more than that.
Yeah, I think that's a Netflix documentary you're referring to. I'm going to continue to say, for people out there, go see Spider-Man, Brand New Day. That's what I've been watching. That's what I've seen. I haven't seen it again. I think I want to go see it twice at least. Great movie, great film. I think even if you're not a superhero person, there are some nice, cool, sweet moments in it, regardless of your age, too, that will resonate with you. So I haven't felt that good about a movie in a long time.
I've heard nothing but good things about it, and that's on the agenda. I think we're going to go to the Tibbs Drive-In this weekend, and I think we're going to double dip and see the Minions movie for the kids and then Spider-Man, do a little double feature action. So I will check that off the box. Still need to get to see the Odyssey, though. I'm trying to go to the State Museum, but it seems like every show for that is sold out forever.
Mark, you let me know if you can get in there, because I have tried the same thing, and I just didn't realize how much people plan their lives around movies. And it's not a shot at anyone. I think it's kind of cool that you can do that, but our schedules are kind of crazy, Kevin. Like, we can't necessarily plan things too far in advance. Like, for example, the JT news could break and you're in the middle of the movie theater like, I got to go write this story. So I'm usually like, okay, day of, let me see what's cooking, if I can make it to the movie theater. But, man, I checked, and that thing is booked out for at least the next month.
I know there's like 11 o'clock showings for it, and I'm like, oh, right after the show, that'd be super easy right downtown.
Everyone's going to be at work.
And
no.
It's sold out for every 11 o'clock show, I swear to God, through like late August.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Moana 5 yet? Or not? Moana 5.
Moana 5.
Whoa.
I was thinking of Toy Story 5. Moana Live is what I was.
I have not.
I've heard very mixed reviews.
Yeah, I've heard that there was a live action thing that did not need to happen, and I heard The Rock is not the most emotional in that one, and his wig is terrible. So we like the Moana movies, but I don't know if I need to see a live action Moana right now.
His wig is terrible.
Oh, I mean, come on. He's like 60 years old, and he's got this like flat, bald head normally, and then he's got this fake wig. It's like, what are we doing here?
Here it is. We have this from a listener, Ben. He says, I sat in the second row last night for the Odyssey, and I felt like an ant. My neck was hurting for staring up, but you need to see it.
That's my thought too. Because like the couple seats I've seen available are like in the first and second row. I'm like, am I going to need like a chiropractor afterwards? Like that's my thing. Is like there's nothing available outside of the first 2 rows, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that to myself.
Mark Dykton, great work. I got to know right there with him. It has been a newsy Thursday so far. Let's hit that morning checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, James Boyd, let's give out the info. Jonathan Taylor will be a Colt moving forward. The news of Thursday morning sounded like what?
Sounded like money.
The numbers, I guess, on that.
I'm sorry.
Is what
it
I
sounded
was
like. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like. I was like, what do you mean? What it sounds like? Sounds like a big bag of money. It sounds like 44 over 2 years, $1 million, up to $47 million, $39 million guaranteed for JT. He's under contract through 2028.
I see Will Haskett here on the text line saying he doesn't understand my thoughts on running back and guard in general. He goes, second round running backs become an elite offensive weapon, 3-contract player. That's success regardless of positional value. There's no guarantee with, for example, Kamoko Terry plus Jordan Wilkins. I don't know if he had another tweet after that, but looks like it stopped. Again, I am team you don't draft positions that don't matter as much until much later in draft. You have a Hall of Fame guard and a Hall of Fame running back, and you have one of the worst playoff runs of any team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, but also...
That's just my philosophical approach to building an NFL roster.
I hear you, but you're also not any better off by not paying those guys, in my opinion.
I mean, once you're in it, I can understand it's a different debate. I would agree that. But like when I am starting to establish a blueprint, I view premium resources need to go to premium positions.
Well, and JT would say, bleep your blueprint. Give me them blue hundreds.
Well, certainly. He's got a lot. He might be throwing a few at the crowd tonight at the Drop
You
Light
think he'd
Grand
sign
Park.
one in honor of Jim Irsay? Be like, you know what? Here.
Maybe not in 2023, but maybe now he would. It is a 3rd contract extension, and tonight it'll be a night practice here for the Colts. 8 to 10 p.m. Last year, very intense. Daniel Jones threw 27 passes in the night practice last year. That is a lot for those that are not out there at Grand Park on a daily basis, so should be pretty competitive for those in attendance tonight. I know we'll get a weather update here in a few. We had some questions a little bit earlier about potentially weather. So I think Jim O'Brien will provide that for you in a few minutes. Speaking of tonight, James, indoors inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse for the first time since it's like July 22nd, I think. The Fever will play a home game, and it is against the Las Vegas Aces. This is a notable one here.
Yes, huge game. No, they beat the Aces earlier this year, but the Aces are currently second in the standings. They're the defending champions. And so if you want to send a message to the rest of the league like, hey, we're contenders too, here's your opportunity to do so. You got MVP candidates on both sides, so should be a great game. I'm bummed I have to miss it for Colts camp. Can't be in 2 places at once. I'm excited for both, actually, but I'll do the rewatch tomorrow.
Again, coming up here, it is the Fever at home. They'll be on the road this weekend. 2 home games with New York and Dallas coming up next week. Purdue will announce their new AD, Tommy McClellan, coming up at 11 o'clock. Are we trying to get him on, Mark?
The bat signal is out for both him and Barry Odom. So it sounds like Barry Odom could be joining us next week, and then we'll see if the new AD can join us as well.
He comes from Rice and then Vanderbilt before that as the deputy AD. Aaron Donald working out for the LA Rams. And unbeknownst to you, James Boyd, that there's men's league for football out there, tackle football.
Yeah, let me intervene really quickly. If you are a man who is out of the college realm and you're playing men's league tackle football, something's wrong with you. I want you to know something is seriously wrong with you. Don't do that. You have a real life now. It's okay. You can talk about the glory days, but to put your body on the line in 37U tackle football is insane.
I just imagine the amount of stretching you have to do so no Achilles are popping or ACLs are tearing.
I'm just thinking of the carnage.
Stretching. I'm thinking more of the pain pills you got to pop pregame, in-game, after game.
I mean, there's no way you're wearing helmets and pads up to regulation. No way.
Again, we'll see if Aaron Donald indeed.
Kevin's a part of this league.
Yeah, clearly. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, Adam Vinatieri going into the Hall. They'll start those activities usually today up there in Canton, Ohio, and you'll hear Vinny's speech coming up on Saturday. This weekend, we'll get IndyCar. It is in Portland for their restart here. It'll be a busy month of August for them, and a good start to August for your Cubs, right, Mark?
That's right. Very good start. Swept the Dodgers, who everybody has already marked for the World Series after they acquired Tarek Skubal at the deadline. Dodgers are 2-8 in their last 10 games, lost 6 straight to both the Red Sox and the Cubs. So they're in a bit of a funk. Cubs, PCA, and Ohtani battling for the NL MVP yesterday. Both hit a pair of home runs. It was a fun show.
I would say, as a baseball fan, there's nothing worse than seeing your best pitcher have the phrase discomfort in the elbow, and they're heading to see Dr. Neil Elitron.
Oh.
Is he the new James Andrews? Remember James Andrews back in the day?
Yeah, no. Elitrach is definitely the guy for. Honestly, he's an Achilles guy too.
That phrase, discomfort in the elbow, has that ever not led to Tommy John? It's never like, oh, discomfort in the elbow. Yeah, I just hit my funny bone. I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually just a foreboding sign. So
I bring that up because Hunter Green for the Reds announced yesterday Reds did win the series over the A's. As Mark said, the Brooms were out for his Cubbies. Cardinals over the Yankees. Brewers over the Pirates. White Sox shut out by the Red Sox.
Red Sox, they've won 25 of the last 28 games.
That's
absurd.
Yeah. And that
absolutely
streak was
crazy.
It was 15 in a row to start.
Yeah. 25-3 in the last 28 games.
Have the White Sox leaked a little oil, or am I imagining that?
A little bit, but they've also had a murderer's row schedule where they had like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Rays, and stuff. So they've had a pretty tough second half since the All-Star break.
Much more on the Colts news of the day, and let's get a little weather update. How will the night practice look tonight for the Colts?
Rain chances return across the area for today. They'll be scattered about. Not everyone's going to get rain. A few thunderstorms as well, and still muggy with a high at 83. Tonight, patchy rain chances, still humid. Look for a low tonight down to 68. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien for The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, the big news on this Thursday morning would be the contract extension for Jonathan Taylor. Still waiting official word from the Colts on that, but also into the inbox here. Leah Boston, Caitlin Clark, they are named to the USA Basketball World Cup roster. It is a roster that looks like an Olympic roster, frankly. And just to kind of update everybody on this, the W as a league, they will actually be taking a break in their season coming up here in a few weeks. That is because the World Cup is going on in Berlin, Germany. So Team USA will play games on September 4th, 6th, and 7th, and then that leads into bracket play. So, you're looking at a handful of games, give or take. Obviously, you would assume minutes would be spread out a whole lot there, but James, I know for those two that have had some injury questions, we'll see how all of that unfolds.
Yes, I'm looking here at the entire roster. So we have Caitlin and Aaliyah, as we mentioned. You also have Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, Ryan Howard, Nafisi Collier, Kelsey Plum, Brianna Stewart, Jackie Young, who's also the all-time leading scorer in Indiana high school basketball, Paige Beckers, Chelsea Gray, and Kalia Copper. Sounds like gold to me.
I'm always curious why Kelsey Mitchell doesn't get more Team USA intrigue.
I am too. I wonder if it's like a size and position thing. But to me, she's very deserving of being a part of this group. And I would argue that if you're looking at players that could have replaced her or she could have replaced, Kelsey Plum. Yeah. Kelsey Plum's been a senior team member for a number of years, though, so I get the seniority. But Kelsey Mitchell is no slouch. She's got to be one of the best 12 players in the world right now today.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, you're not trying to pick the 12 best scores. We've seen this with Team USA. There's been Draymond Green, for example, has obviously been a mainstay on those teams. Even Bam Adebayo, has been kind of a helpful, versatile defensive player. So, yeah, it's kind of weird how the WNBA schedule is going to work out for these teams. They'll play here for the next couple of weeks, and then, again, certainly the most prominent players in the league will go overseas, and then they'll come back and play, I think it's 4 regular season games before they head into the playoffs. Again, the news of the day on this Thursday morning, a contract extension for one Jonathan Taylor. 2 years, reportedly up to $47 million. And that guarantee is what has really stood out to me today, James. I mean, that is a $39 million guarantee. That is big for a running back. Good on Jonathan Taylor, because that is the number that really stands out. And I get it from the Colts aspect of it. There's obviously give and take in all these contracts. And, Taylor, it's a scary thing to say for a running back, but I really don't think he's nearing any sort of cliff. I really don't think Father Time is just around the corner. I know that's scary to say for a running back, and I might regret those comments, but I do feel like he can defy the odds a little bit.
Yeah. He's such a talented player, and I think that he's shown that he'll put the work in to take care of his body to make sure that he's available for his team. So I can't be mad at, the stuff that, or the money that he's gotten and the reward that he's been given for what he's produced with this franchise. Looking at it right here, KB, Taylor's career average per game is 90.5 rushing yards. That's the 5th most all-time behind, in order, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Terrell Davis, and Eric Dickerson. You know what all those guys have in common?
Gold jacket.
Gold jacket. That's what we're talking about with JT. So you use your reward, the gold jacket guys.
Yeah, so again, unique to see a player get 3 years of three contracts of the multi-year variety from one franchise, but that's the latest, and the Colts will be on the practice field coming up tonight. Taylor has practiced every day but one. He was amongst a group that got a veteran rest day back, whatever it was, practice 3, I think it was, when they had those 4 straight practices.
He was going to Chris Ballard to say, hey, hold on now, brother. Get that pen ready. I'm ready to sign.
To start camp here. I know Taylor downplayed it the other day. I thought the Bijan Robinson domino was very important to get everything slotted in place for Taylor in the running back.
Did you think it had to be him or Jamar Gibbs? Because I felt like one of the top dudes probably had to just establish the quote unquote market.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see where Jahmyr Gibbs kind of slots in. Yeah. I mean, just without looking at their numbers too close, I'd probably say Bijan a little bit more than Gibbs. But yes, I mean, those two, I think, obviously are going to set and or reset the markets here. So I thought when that Robinson news hit on Tuesday, which was, I think, during the show as well, if I remember correctly, I think that kind of allowed for Taylor to get a better understanding of kind of where he's at here and expect him to obviously have a big season upcoming. Couple other things to note for tonight's night practice if you're going out there. Kickers are expected to both kick, so we'll see if Spencer Schrader, who really needs a good night and frankly needs a bad night from Blake Grupe, we'll see how the kicking battle continues. They're going to split up days over the weekend. And are we any closer to Alec Pierce in that return? You know, we are now into a week and a half-ish of a timetable that was thought to be 1 to 2 weeks. So, you know, again, practice days at the Droplight Grand Park campus, they become a little bit more spread out now. But still, we only have, 7 left. And tonight would be day 7 of that. So those are a couple of other items to note here. One final time on this Thursday morning. Fan Morning Show here, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
It's been a busy Thursday here. Thank you to Stephen Holder for adjusting some things and joining us a little bit later in the show because right around the 8 o'clock hour is when the news broke of Jonathan Taylor and a 2-year extension. Just to clear it up for people just joining us, James, that is 2 years through 2028.
Yes, sir.
So he will be one more year, I guess, than Daniel Jones. If you want to look at it, granted, Daniel Jones will probably be doing an extension next offseason. Daniel Jones could have been your answer earlier, Mark.
That's true.
That really could have been an answer.
You know,
oh, boy.
Better drop the ball.
If Daniel Jones' season goes well and you're running it back with everybody, you wouldn't have your franchise quarterback in a contract year, would you?
You wouldn't think so.
So, yeah, that could be something on there.
So what you're saying is I should just pre-write that as well? I did get a kick out of this.
I think you have a long time before you got to worry about that.
I had a commenter on The Athletic. He goes, I'm listening to James Boyd on the radio right now. How did he write this article at the same time? Ghostwriter or written during the radio break? And someone else chimes in and says he's pulling a Doctor Strange from the Infinity War where he looks into the future to see every possibility of how the season will go for the Colts. He has pre-writes for everything. Don't be shocked if there's one out there for Andrew Luck coming out of retirement and Peyton Manning becoming the GM.
You know that one got
all that.
You know that one got updated when he saw him throwing pills to Zach Ertz.
It still got little cobwebs on it, but I started to blow them off a little bit, like, hey, shoo.
Added a graph or two is what you're saying?
Yeah, just one or two.
You know, I mentioned to you earlier, and I saw that Will Haskett was chiming in on this. I kind of have a grand, roster building thought in the NFL of again, positional value to me should meet a little bit more of how you spend your premium draft picks. I would not be drafting a guard in round 1. I would not be drafting a running back before day 3. Those are kind of some of my thoughts. Do you guys have, any grand thoughts on that? I mean, not to turn into fantasy football, but some people are like, I'm not touching a quarterback until round 10 of my fantasy football draft. When it comes to an NFL team, do you have anything that you are a staunch roster building believer in?
Yeah, I'm probably not a linebacker in the first round type of guy. I just don't know if they hold the positional value that they used to. And the way with defenses are played now, where you're playing a lot more nickel and dime packages, and for those listening, that means if you have 5 or 6 defensive backs on the field, I just don't know if I would rather have the safety or the cornerback or whoever over the linebacker.
Mark, you got any?
Just the 3 most important positions, or 3 or 5. You could make it 5. 5 most important positions football. I go quarterback, edge rusher, left tackle, lockdown corner, and wide receiver.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I agree
if
with
you
that.
can check 3 or 4 of those boxes, especially the quarterback one, you can be set for the next decade plus.
Well, to me, I think that's why Houston is such a great example of why they've won recently. When you look at Houston's roster, I don't know if 1 to 53, it's whatever, particularly, super quality depth all around. But when you have, and again, say what you will about Stroud, he still has been a fine quarterback. Stroud, Nico Collins, Will Anderson Jr., Derek Stingley, Daniil Hunter. I mean, those are just some flat out studs.
Yeah.
At the positions that, again, I think truly matter. I would add one more thing. To me, there's a combination of positional shelf life. Again, for a running back, Taylor's a unicorn. Not many running backs have shelf life that lasts, I would say, even 3 downs, let alone 3 contracts. I mean, some of these running backs don't even really play on 3rd down. And then I would also add, too, what's easier to replace? Can you go, what's easier to Band-Aid? Can you Band-Aid some things up?
Yeah.
If you have a Hall of Fame, Taylor's a Hall of Fame caliber player, right? If you have a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, if you have a Hall of Fame caliber edge rusher, to me, those are positions that I think can kind of carry a little bit more weight for you. And again, last year we saw, when Daniel Jones went down, who really mattered? Who's the most valuable player? Who's more valuable, Daniel Jones or Jonathan Taylor?
It's always the quarterback, especially if he's a good one.
And who's the better player?
Jonathan Taylor.
Right. 2 different answers.
Yeah.
That's why when we always debate MVP awards, I always start with, define it for me. Are we going acronym? because we're going most valuable player, then that means the quarterback should win MVP every single year. Now, if we're going best player, now we're in a like Heisman Trophy. Is that the best player? Okay, Jeremiah Love should be up there. Those sorts, Adrian Peterson, like those sorts of debates. But when you're literally saying the acronym most valuable, it's quarterback.
Yeah, it's become, and that's why the MVP has become a quarterback award, and then there's offensive player of the year, and that's for the everybody else, it seems like.
So you're Jackson Smith and Jigba, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this right now just because I always do this, and I'm a nerd. Isaiah Harkenstein is getting paid more money annually than Jonathan Taylor. Like, Fred VanVleet, Josh Giddey, Dyson Daniels, Miles Turner is
So
getting
is that
paid
just
more
'cause
than
they're-
JT.
Is that just because they're working more nights out of the year?
It has to be, right? Because relative, like per game, there's obviously no comparison there, 82 versus 17. But I just get a kick out of that.
I mean, I've gotten a kick out of this LeBron contract for this year.
Oh, you know what? JT's a higher paid player than LeBron.
Ben Shepherd is making more money than LeBron.
That's crazy.
Josh Hoover in Bloomington is making more money than LeBron.
Ridiculous.
Indiana practice is underway. Purdue practice is underway as we're getting things started here from a college football standpoint. And tonight it is a night practice. Weather, I think, should be all right for this one. So looking forward to it. I mean, I know I've talked about it all morning long, but this is easily the longest practice of camp. It is scheduled to go 2 hours. And last year you had, I mean, I can remember Shane Steichen just megaphoning it up, like pretty much having a pseudo scrimmage out there. So if you're coming out to Grand Park, I think you'll be entertained by it.
Yeah, it's a good time. I enjoy it a lot. And drone show, fireworks, Cold City, run the 40, beat my time, and have a great time.
You can do a light jog and probably beat James's 40 time.
You probably can.
When are you doing your redo?
I have to do it on the last day. So I think it's the 20th, last day of camp. I got some time to keep training, Mark.
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
Atlanta Falcons in town.
I'm coming out there in a singlet.
Oh, jeez.
I don't leave much to the imagination.
Well, good thing you're not pooping in your backyard because that would be hard to get off.
Hey, we've seen plenty of grass clippings out at Westfield.
Let's ask the listeners, send us a text, 239-1070 if you think I should wear a Speedo to be more aerodynamic.
No, we'll just borrow one of Kevin's. They're collecting dust in his closet right now.
I don't know if I want to borrow that.
Have you ever worn a single one of those? How many do you have? 3?
I've tried them all on.
With an audience or no?
Well, wouldn't you like to know?
I asked the question. Nellie Bowen got some FaceTime yesterday with JMV. I saw. So
I was struggling. Did you happen to catch that segment, Mark?
Yeah, I did.
We're trying to go Zoom here with our guest, and yeah, so I had all 3 of them home at the same time, and Max is crying, and Nellie's at that stage mark at 8 months. Hell, she's 9 months now. I think about it. Like she can really crawl.
You're like having to baby-proof the house all over again.
And dude, I'm struggling. I'm like, how is that on the ground? I'm saying to Max, I'm looking at him like, your Legos cannot be on the ground under any circumstance.
0.
And so Nellie was easily the most well-behaved of probably the 3. Well, Rosie was pretty good. She was just telling on Max, but yeah, Max was horrific, crying. I had to leave the segment. I had to go put Max back upstairs.
That's why you let him go pee in the yard. You're like, get out of here for a little bit.
I stand by the pee in the yard. Now, I know you don't have any boys, Mark, and they always say, right, girls are easier to potty train than boys.
Yeah. I would sign off on that. I would agree.
I mean, honestly, I think one of the big advantages to getting Max to pee was we did it kind of, spring, summer, and I was like, dude, if you got to go in the yard, go in the yard. I mean, his fertilizer is better than your fertilizer.
Oh my God. I would disagree.
I was going to say, I might disagree with
by
that.
the way.
What, you literally think some dung is better fertilizer than urine?
100%.
Yes. Isn't that like science?
Yeah.
No way. Is that Eddie moaning in the background?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Eddie's disgusted.
Eddie, you can try and chime in here.
The family program. What are we doing?
Everybody
Families
poops,
can't.
Eddie.
Yeah. I would say, what kind of family are you in, Eddie? Don't use any of the bathrooms in the house.
Garrisons have the outhouse in the back with the half moon on it on the door.
Sounds like you need one. Has the Dude Wipe sponsor come in yet?
No, I'm patiently awaiting my inbox.
He needs to. Did you bring him a shower in a bag? I have a shower in a bag at home.
Yeah, I got one on my car.
Okay.
Mark, if you need it. What do we got, James? I'll see you here in 12 hours. Hell, I'll see you in less than 12 hours, right?
Yes, and we should have a good time.
8 to 10 p.m. tonight. That is Grand Park in Westfield, the Drop Light Grand Park campus. Fan Morning Show signing off here. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. It is 93.5. It's 107.5. The Fan. Oh, we still have 20 seconds. Well,
I was wondering why you're trying to get rid of us so quickly.
I said 30 seconds. You started signing off.
Oh,
what are you doing
gosh.
here?
Well, I figured
get your head out of the gutter, man.
He's got poop for brains. Apparently,
I figure enough poop and pee talk for the day. We should probably sign it off. Shout out to Jonathan Taylor. He's a rich man. Jake Query will talk much more about that here.